Okay, I have to ask you guys to do something, but would you just introduce yourselves really quickly and say who you are? And then, because I'm basically, there's like four people in this room. You don't have to start. I mean, like, whoever can start.
This is Braden.
This is Braden.
Coming at you.
Let's kick it off.
What's up?
Well, I'll start. Fuck, I hate doing this shit. It's so stupid.
We're just like, you start. No, you
All
start.
right, what's up, everybody? We got 4 people in the building today. We had a bunch of special guests from around the Central Coast. We have affectionately dubbed ourselves the Central Coast 4. We run coffee out here. So I'm just going to do a voice check. This is me, Chris. You hear me every week. Cat and Cloud. I'm going to pass it to the right to Evan.
This is Evan Morris. I own and operate Calavera Coffee in Hollister, California. We also have a record store next door, 2 doors down from our shop called Calavera Retail Shop or Calavera Records and Retail. I'm going to pass it over here.
This is Braden, one of the owners of 11th Hour Coffee. We got our downtown shop and our west side shop, and happy to be here.
Thank you, Braden.
Needs no introduction.
Really
no pass here.
To my right.
Tyler Ellis here, owner of Captain and Stoker Coffee, holding it down for the Monterey PG area. Chris, happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Stoked. Did I tell you the bike story? This just reminded me. The bike story about your cafe.
What do you mean?
My honeymoon story.
No.
The tragedy of Captain and Stoker.
What?
So
wow,
your
it's a book.
I made it to the honeymoon. Sick.
Well, not directly. So your store used to be a bike shop.
Yes, Jocelyn's.
Okay. So when we got married, we took a honeymoon in Monterey.
Okay.
And I had some shitty fixed gear bike. This was I don't know. 2000. That one's a single speed. I mean, I guess it's got a fixed up on one side. This one was worse. This was like that bike we found in a field.
Sick.
Nice.
This was I built it with parts that I had. But I was kind of getting into the whole thing, you know?
Okay.
I was like, oh, cool, living in San Francisco, riding a fixed gear
Fixie.
bike around the Mission, whatever.
Alley cats.
Yeah. So I brought the bike on the honeymoon. I'm just riding it around, and I needed something. It was a tube or a tire or whatever. So went to the bike shop. And the dude at the bike shop, they had this little walk-up window for the service shop. And the dude at the bike shop's like, oh, is that one of those fixed gear bikes? And I was like, yeah, it is. He's like, oh, cool, man. Can you like do any of those little skids or anything? And I was like, kind of a little bit.
Did you give him a show?
And he's like, can you show me? And I was like, so I gave him a little show and then paid for the thing, walked down the street. So Jenny and I are sitting on the curb. We're eating a snack or whatever. And 10 minutes later, the dude rides by on his fixed gear bike doing like bar spins and like the craziest skids and wheelies. And he looks over at me and just like fucking dogs me out. And he just totally punked me for no fucking reason.
He's like, show me what you got, you nerd.
He just fucking trolled me so hard.
Oh, dude.
So whenever I go to your store, I always think of that motherfucker at the bike shop.
I wonder if it's this dude Micah.
I don't know.
Honestly, because he worked there and he was a fixie guy back in the day, and he doesn't own anymore now, but yeah, he's a legendary. He's like a skydiver now. It's pretty sick.
Okay. Yeah.
But
So
that's hilarious.
it's pretty fucking funny.
funny.
Yeah, I got punked, dude. I got treated like a child.
Cyclist, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes I think about how many people have come and gone through the coffee shop doors.
Dude, it's insane to think about that.
What's your longest employee? Like you still have? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be Ev, operations manager. She's coming up on 4.5.
4.5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is crazy because, I mean, we're a 6.5. So coming in, she's been there. She's seen so much. And like she knows everything about the business now, which is fantastic because she pretty much runs the entire show. But yeah, 4.5.
What is that operations manager? What does the operations manager do?
She oversees both of our cafes.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much like any of the cafe managers' needs, she's going to cover them. So any of the day-to-day, the random bullshit. But then she's also having leadership meetings with those people once a week, and then also checking in on the team leads at those locations as well.
So like a regional manager type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is she scheduling too, or the managers? The
managers
team
are scheduling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then we meet weekly too, and then goes from there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty insane, man. I couldn't do anything without that girl. Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like started in the dish room, came through,
So
barista training, everything.
your structure is essentially you and Kelsey, and then she's like your retail operations manager essentially, or whatever. And then each cafe has its own cafe manager, and then the roastery does what?
Roastery
Or works how?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm pretty much like the guy at the roastery. You know, like Sam is our head roaster, and then we have just one other packaging person named Amber. They both kill it, so it's only like a 2-person team right now, which is like insane.
Amber's
They're
cool.
crushing it. Yeah, Amber's tight. And we're bringing on our third in the new year, January 6th, which I'm super excited about. And then Sam will go towards more of like a manager position and like overall like warehouse manager in a sense. But then myself and like Taylor, she's head of sales, and I kind of tackle that too. Yeah.
Head of sales.
Yeah.
Is she?
Wait, can I ask one question?
Yeah,
How many
yeah.
people are in the roastery total?
It like fluctuates because we have like a full design team too. So around like 6 or 7.
6 or 7?
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it's sick, man. Like, and like Kelsey manages like the entire design side, which is cool. We just had a killer time with it.
What does head of sales do? Sorry, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
I'm like so curious as to
Yeah.
how everything works.
Manages all of our wholesale accounts, right?
Okay,
and
got it.
then you know, aspiring for more. You know, so like any bit of communication towards wholesale accounts, she's covering. Learning, you know, to like train wholesale accounts and like onboarding and training with more wholesale accounts. She can onboard by now. But she's been with us for like coming up on 8 months, I think. You know, so it's been like a lot of progression and learning period. It's her first time in coffee, but she comes from like a high-end hospitality.
Okay.
So it kind of works in both ways in a sense. But yeah, managing of all wholesale accounts, onboarding, and then the structure of that, and then growing.
I saw your stuff at Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Dude,
I did too. I was down there 2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
no,
I was
it's-
like, dang.
yeah, it's pretty insane.
The coffee?
Honestly. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just
Oh,
wholesale
nice.
account with them.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah,
actually
dude.
like first public
Oh,
that you said it.
Oh, am I not supposed to say
No,
it?
I don't think it's hidden by any means. I mean, it's obviously there.
I mean, they had your
We just-
branding out there.
Yeah, no, I
like,
know.
it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
This was my
No, it
experience.
totally
I'm
is.
speaking on.
This is what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw cans of Captain Stoker and whole bean and signage.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
no,
were not
man,
shy about it.
It's just not, I would say, Instagram.
Oh, I see.
Not yet.
I
Marketing
see.
launch, you know, that company's massive, so it takes a long time to go through marketing
Yeah,
and stuff like
totally.
that. But
Well, if you change your mind, we can pull this out afterwards. If you don't want the world to know, if you want to tell them on your own time.
no, this is sick. This is
But
you
dude,
can tell.
congratulations. That's such a cool
yeah,
partnership.
it's truly insane. Never thought that one would come. Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it was just super stoked for it, and we're only like 3 weeks into it, which is
Really?
pretty sick. Yeah.
Dude, I must have been there.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like the first day.
Really?
Were you there the same
Yeah,
time?
I
we
wanna,
might have
like-
been. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like December for sure.
Yeah. Because if you would have asked me when I saw it, I would have said about a month ago.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it had
I'm-
to be
I'm
like
really
3 to
bad
4,
with time,
like
though.
3 to 4
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
I was there 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny,
Yeah,
man. Like
I'm in a time warp. I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on.
I
we did
mean,
like our first order of cold brew cans for them, and they were like, all right, cool, let me get like 400, you know, we'll just like see how that goes. And it was a Thursday already, and they were wanting them by Tuesday, and I was like, all right, we can do that, because our canning line, I mean, you saw our canning line, it's super
Yeah.
small, you know, like you can can one at a time.
It's
That's-
awesome.
Yeah, it is
It's cute, and I don't mean that in a disparaging kind of way.
No,
I thought
it
it was
is.
like the coolest shit ever.
yeah, and it works for what we do for right now. But yeah, they ordered their first 400, and then she calls me the next day, and she's like, hey, can we change that to 2,000?
Shit.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, absolutely.
Yes is
yeah.
the answer.
Yeah, so we just sat there.
A couple thousand, no
Yeah,
problem.
no, couple
How
thousand.
long did it take you to do 2,000 cans?
We started brewing on Friday, and then it took us 2 days to can. Yeah, and then we did it in like 2 shipments. You know, so we did 2 shipments of 1,000 and crushed it in probably like total of 17 hours working.
Okay.
Yeah, it really
That's
wasn't
good.
like insane. It was
Yeah.
cool, honestly. It was cool to see how fast like we could make an answer like that and never have produced that much at all.
Yeah.
And then just be able to do it.
You have in your mind, you're like, I can make this many, but then when you actually get pressure to do it as fast as you can, you're like, oh, I can actually do this many
Yeah.
in this amount of time.
Yeah, it was cool.
For everybody listening, it's like a 1 can at a time
Yes,
operation.
literally.
Like one. I
Kegerator?
imagine people are picturing a conveyor belt
Yeah.
or something. We're
No.
sealing 1 can at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, even I was thinking that. I was like, damn. I was like, Tyler invested in like this avenue of the market. And I'm like, like salute, like I can't believe you pulled this shit off. And then I was totally imagining like you got some like giant fucking manufacturer.
Yeah. And then it's just like a bloop, one little can.
Your
We
little-
blew up, dude. I blew up a can right in my face when we were first testing everything out because like I had no idea what liquid nitrogen was,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how. You know what I mean?
Every bad story starts.
Yeah. So I was like, how the fuck are everyone getting these cans like stiff? You know, and then
they were crinkly.
yeah, they were like, you know, you would can it and it was just soft and it was
Yeah.
like, that's not
Flaccid
appealing.
can.
Yeah,
Flaccid
exactly. Some weird flaccid ass can. Like nobody wants a flaccid ass can.
No.
So yeah, man, like I started dabbling with the liquid nitrogen and like literally just like putting it on a spoon and dumping it in the cold brew and then capping it and sealing it. And like I went to go take it out and it just poof, just completely blew up in our faces.
Okay.
Way too much liquid nitrogen at first
Yeah.
because it expands
Yeah.
and then it just blew up.
So you have to dial in your ratio.
Yeah. Well, now we have that sick mini
The
liquid
fancy
nitrogen.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing's so cool.
Tja.
Canning, man, it's a fun time. Excited to see where it goes.
I mean, you got 2,000 cans a week now
Ooh,
in Monterey
Maybe.
Bay.
it's insane. Shout
Yeah,
out to
that's
the aquarium.
awesome, man.
Thank you.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's pretty
What's
cool.
what's your oldest employee now, Evan?
My oldest employee? Oh, Tabby. Day one.
Day
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Still
Day
there.
Oh.
negative 14 or so. Yeah.
Day 0.
Yeah. Since 2018. Yeah. She's she's been there since we opened. Because we had the garden
Yeah.
shop where we first did the podcast
Mm-hmm.
6 years ago.
Yeah, your mom was there.
My mom showed up. My mom was just showing up just so she could just light my ass up about something. What are you doing here and there? She always gives me a hard time, but it's just how I was raised. My mom likes to ruffle feathers. But yeah, Tabby has been with me since the very beginning. She started off just like no coffee experience. She was working at a restaurant and then she worked for me and then she just slowly kind of worked her way up. Now she manages our cafe. So she does all the scheduling. She's in charge of like ordering everything. She handled most of the ordering. Some things I order for we make like latte bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing all
Delicious.
the labels. Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're so good.
People
man.
like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
And I like how we're right next to each other at Elroy's.
Yeah,
I love
we're
the
super sick.
packaging too.
yeah. Our friend Spencer, who actually worked at Elroy's, that's how we got there. He was working
nice.
there for a while, and he made labels for
Yeah.
us. He designed the labels for him. But yeah, Tabby, she does all the ordering. She manages everything, and then
She did some art too.
yeah, she does all the design for. She actually designed our slimy skull, like our main logo.
Oh,
Nice.
word.
She does she's done most of our designs for like our sweatshirts, our t-shirts, mugs and stuff like that. All the stamp on our cup. So she's very talented there. She's going to school to become she wants to be an art teacher. So she's getting her feels in for learning how to deal with people and manage people and dealing with customers and things like that. So she'll be a good teacher. She's probably going to be with us for like another year or so, and then she'll venture off and do her own thing.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah. And then I think the second longest tenured employee is actually leaving in 2 days to also pursue the ceramics teacher.
Hmm.
So he wants to go to school. Yeah, I know. That's why I
We
saw
gotta
this big
kill him.
kiln. He would love
Oh,
looking
your
at
trip,
this
huh?
kiln. Yeah, Noah would be psyched to see this kiln right here.
Yeah, you got to bring him to the Santa Cruz clay spot across the street.
I have to let him know about that because I know he works on ceramics more like in the Gilroy area because he has like some connection to one of the studios up there. But I'll let him know. I'll get the info for that so he could come check it out because he's very into what he does with ceramics. He's a good
nice.
ceramicist. He loves it.
Nice.
He wants to teach kids. So, but yeah, those two are my longest. And I have Matt. We have 10 employees or 11 now, and so I have like 2 or 3 that have been with me for about 3 years or 4 years or more, and the rest of them are kind of like have been there for like a year or 2. So yeah,
Dang, you're like an
Cool.
incubator for artists.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of crazy. We do have a lot of people who like have worked for me that are like very like art driven, and like half of them are like really into like art, and the other half are like, I'm a computer science major. And I'm like, cool. It's a good mix.
Yeah.
It's a really good mix of people. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coffee and art goes hand in hand.
it is. Yeah.
It's a pretty good mashup.
It is.
And Evan was the first person to, I think, try my coffee and review my
Yeah.
coffee.
Really?
That's
Review.
right. I did 4
Yeah.
YouTube reviews of coffee, and then I got
when
tired
he
of
was
it.
still at Verdict.
Seriously?
Dude, this was like,
Are they still
this
up?
was like,
Oh, man, I don't know. Probably not.
oh no,
We
they're
need to
still
find
up.
these.
Are they up there?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
we
you're
need to
still up.
find
No,
it.
I'm gonna
They're
send
still
them
up.
to you.
Send them to me.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was like I was still roasting out of my barn.
Send it to
you
the
guys
group
had just
chat.
had your Vertigo
Or-
throwdown, remember? Like,
Oh yeah,
It was right around the time
Oh,
you
the
guys were roasting
Vertigo
at Vertigo.
Throwdown.
yeah, and I
right.
met
Yeah.
I think Evan through that or something, and then
Yeah.
I was roasting at my house. I was like, yo, like I saw him doing these reviews. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, will you review my coffee? Like,
Yo.
Yeah.
and he did. Dude, it was
Yeah.
such.
so
You have no
sick.
idea, like that. This was pre-Joel, and so like that little juice of like, wow, somebody like is like taking me seriously.
That's
That's
cool.
so sick.
And you were just a cool barista. And I was like barely working in coffee.
Yeah,
by then, so.
I was working at Vertigo, and it's right around the time you guys were. It was, I think it was before you guys started roasting at Vertigo. Before you were in.
We were roasting out of Dune.
That's right. Yeah. I think you guys are like transitioning, but I wanted to do videos to highlight people's coffee. I worked at Vertigo, and it was a small shop. And so I felt like a lot of times when you work at a small shop or you are like working at a smaller company, you kind of get like pushed under the rug a little bit, or you kind of just get like, you just kind of get like tossed aside because you're like not working for like one of the big guys. So I just wanted to like highlight people's coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna do this whole YouTube series, and I'm gonna make videos, and I just, my ADHD kicked in like
Yep.
halfway through. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I stopped making them. But yeah, I did your coffee. I did a couple other random small roasters too.
That's so rad.
And then that was it.
What
That's
did
it.
you roast the coffee on? It was a weird
I roasted
little...
that coffee on a Sono Fresco,
Yeah.
the 2-pound fluid airbed roaster. I still have it to this day.
Is it that red one?
It's that red one.
Yeah.
I personally feel like it's still the best coffee I've ever roasted.
Yeah?
On that thing. Yeah.
I remember
Wow.
you would come into Verve and sit at the counter, and that was where I met you.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the tail end of me working there, maybe? Or if
It
I was
was,
just
I think
coming
I
in,
came
we were
in,
setting up...
I came into Verve like right when you started the build out,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Of the Portola location.
Got it. All right.
And yeah, then you'd sit at the bar, and I was just like, nobody knew that I had already been roasting, and I was working there just to get experience. But I was like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
And so like I like incognito. I was like every time you'd sit there, I just like try and pick your brain and ask you a ton of
I'm
questions.
just like, who is
And you're
this
like,
guy,
who's this kid?
dude?
Why is he-
This guy's crazy.
And what year is this?
We started building out, so like 2015, 2016. We opened in
Okay.
2016 at Portola. So I think we signed a lease sometime in 2015.
Okay.
And I don't know, that it was all real fuzzy for me. So somewhere in that zone.
Yeah.
Because I was living right across the street from Verve 41st at that time.
Yeah. So you'd
And you worked
you'd
there?
be in all the time.
What's that?
You worked there when you lived right across the street?
No, I was already done. I left Verve in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
And-
sorry. I was on bar. He was sitting at the counter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, you were just like geeking out on some
Yeah.
next level nerd shit
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I thought you guys were like, it was so funny because at the time I was like, well, dude, you guys are way fucking cool. I should go work for you guys. They're opening. I should apply. Like, and I think I sent one message. I wanted to work for you guys, and then I didn't get a reply from Jared or something for a second. I was like, I feel like I won't do my own thing if I start working for them. I think I'm right where I need to be. I should just stay.
you knew then you were gonna do something.
I did,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I probably would have gotten just sucked in and not maybe stemmed off. You know what I mean? If I did, but
So your brother wasn't a part of it from the get go?
no, Joel didn't get involved till farmers markets or like the Santa Cruz market. So maybe like a year into it.
What year did you open officially?
The cafe or
no farmers market stuff?
farmers markets was early 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did the Corlitos farmers market was my first one, and just did porvers and stuff. And then my first like official market with like espresso machine and like everything in the cart was San Jose, because that was the only market that would take us.
No way. It's
and
hard to get in the markets, right?
Dude, it's really hard. And Lulu's at the time had like a monopoly on all of them.
Oh yeah, Man 3 had the lockdown.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then so I would take my Jeep and haul on the trailer all the way to San Jose, and that's when Joel got involved. And then still roasting at my house. And then went to the Santa Cruz markets, and like Lulu's had dropped out, and I was there that day, and they were like, "Can you show up tomorrow?"
Sick.
Yeah, and that was when we could do it at home, and we're like, okay,
What happened to Lulu's?
Right place, right time.
Why didn't they show
Drama.
up? Why didn't they show up, Braden?
drama.
What happened?
I can't get
Did
into
you did you do something to their? Oh, Lulu's
There's something
can't
here.
make it.
There's something here.
Mistake.
Flat
Oh,
their
jeez.
tires.
Oh
Yeah.
god, you know the car went
They didn't
missing.
show up?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Bummer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
even know what Lulu's is.
Lulu's is okay. So there's this dude Man 3, and I have a
And sorry to
Peop-
get into it. I don't know if we're
no.
hitting anything
I
here.
feel I feel comfortable talking about this because of where I don't have any like direct involvement with anything. So the dude that owns it's named Man3, and I've known him for years, just casually through the community.
Okay.
Like, even way back in the day before I moved to Santa Cruz, he would come to some of the West Coast barista event gatherings, some of
okay.
those old barista guild, whatever they were.
Yeah. Southwest Barista Guild.
Barista Jam
Yeah,
things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one, I think.
There was one on Pacific Avenue.
Mm-hmm. And then there was one before that in San Jose somewhere.
Probably at
Barefoot put it on when Andy still owned Barefoot.
Yeah.
Before it switched over, because he sold Barefoot to some big company, and then the Chromatic dudes moved into that spot.
Yeah, they took that Stevens Creek, whatever it was.
Yeah, because Yver was already working there.
Yver Van Geenhoven.
Yver's the man, dude.
Yver's still
Yeah.
Chromatic, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
I
legend.
think he owns it, right? I think it's his.
What?
Possibly, yeah.
Anyway, this dude
Yeah.
Man3 owned two companies. So he owned Lulu Carpenters, which is a coffee shop, and also the Coffee Cat chain of coffee shops.
Yeah.
Some of which I think he sold, because there's a Coffee Cat in Santa Barbara that I think he used to own, but he sold. So I don't know if it's a franchise thing. Anyway, he was kind of early on specialty coffee in Santa Cruz.
Yep.
He used to have a location at the Octagon where the Abbott Square Market is.
You know the Abbott Square, how like the main building's there, and there's like that weird. Well, actually, is that little weird octagon building still there?
The brick octagon's still there, and there's some food in it.
There used to be a cafe in that octagon. It was really cool.
Really?
It was super cool. It was the
Yeah.
first cafe I went into in Santa Cruz, I think.
Yeah, and he had a Clover. If you know the Clover, don't know the Clover.
Starbucks
That's cool.
Starbucks uses a Clover, right?
Starbucks.
East Coast, dude.
Dude, I'm like sitting here with all of you guys, which are like coffee, like legends in a sense, and like I don't come from coffee, so you guys are talking like history of coffee and like all of this shit and like what happened like here in Santa Cruz, but like I don't come from it.
Got it.
So it's also like very interesting to me to hear all these stories.
So you may be
And,
seeing
like-
a Clover
All the lore.
at Starbucks. Okay, it looks like a big square black box.
Okay.
And what it is it's a vacuum press.
I don't know what it is either. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was
Let's
feeling
do
so out right
This
now.
is great. We'll do Clover 101.
Yeah, Clover
So-
101.
In probably 2005, 6, 7, somewhere in that zone, there was a startup company called Clover, and it was kind of one of the first tech startups in coffee. And at the time, this was before pour over bars were really popular. Like the focus was espresso culture, as pure as it can be. This kind of like the rise of the latte art era. The rise of Rosettas on cappuccinos, perfectly textured microfoam. David Schomer, things that we take for granted now, where you kind of go a lot of places and get a decent
wasn't
cappuccino.
Lulu's one of the first places to start doing latte art?
They probably were.
Probably, right?
Yeah, that was before I got here, but I would guarantee I would put money on it.
Yeah.
So this company Clover developed this machine that it's a big black box. It's got a cylinder with a piston. The piston goes up and down.
Classic.
And there's a screen on it. So you would set brewing parameters. You could set dwell time. You could set water temperature, everything that you wanted, and you could save profiles in this machine. So you'd hit the button. The piston would drop down. You would dump the coffee in there, and then it would shoot water on the top. You'd agitate it with a whisk, and then it would run its cycle. And then when it was done, the piston would come back up, and the way it brewed was this full immersion vacuum press. So there's a vacuum from underneath the piston that would suck the coffee out. So when the piston came back up, you'd end up with a dry coffee cake.
A big cake like that big.
Big cake like this that you would then squeegee off with a literal squeegee into this bucket. And so this was a startup company, and it was the fucking talk of the town. It was the shit like, oh my gosh, you're getting a Clover. And we got one at Ritual. We were kind of early adopters, and it was pretty rare. So Man3 had one at Lulu's at the Octagon, which was just wild for the era. And then he also had a Mistral, which like a La Marzocco Mistral. So there's two versions of Mistral. There's the Mistrals that were built by Kees van der Westen before he had an espresso machine company, and he was just a sculptor doing one-off pieces of art.
That's crazy.
And then La Marzocco made some that they put in line that weren't made by him, but used the same name. But they were still super fancy.
I think Mistral's what Starbucks had for a while too, right?
So I don't know if they ever ran Mistrals. They ran Lineas, like OG Lineas.
They had the big 4-group Lineas.
4-group Lineas.
Yeah.
So Man3 had all the toys and was this like early adopter into the scene.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really know much about him.
Well,
Other than he's really quirky. And
2 weeks ago,
he loves cars.
some guy came in and I made a cappuccino. I talked to him later for the dude who started Lulu's before it got sold to Manfrey.
Oh, I
His
didn't
name's
even know.
Michael Bates.
Michael Bates?
Yes. And
Why
he
does
was
that-
I was like, wait, what? And he was one of the founders of it prior, apparently.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I know,
that
me
this is
neither.
a
I got the
thing.
lore even deepened. I was like, what the hell?
Well, Chris,
So it's
we got a-
closed
we got a
and
surprise
no
for you.
longer
we got,
here, right?
We got Michael
Lulu's.
Bates right here for you. He's walking
There's
in.
still
I'm not
No.
the father, dude.
They're still so they closed the Octagon location and they just closed the Scotts Valley location, but there's still a downtown Lulu's and he opened a Mission. It's off a Mission Lulu's, and then there's a drive-through Lulu's.
Yeah.
They took the Coffeeville, or not Coffeeville. What's the one that was over on Mission that Lulu took over? It used to be called
I forget.
Coffeetopia.
Coffeetopia. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other Lulu's is across from Verve on Pacific Avenue.
Yeah.
And it's actually they're really cool looking shops. So you like walk up and it's like it's
Cool.
kind of like inlaid a little bit. It's got
Downtown's sick. Brick
Yeah.
building.
brick
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They just remodeled it too because I was actually gonna go Christmas shopping. Like I got sent my girlfriend a little massage thing at Well Within. So I was like, I'm gonna go walk around and
Nice.
get coffee. And there was the only spot that was open was Lulu's, and I walked up and they were like remodeling. So I sat outside for like an hour. And I
Yeah.
was just like sitting there like, damn, I want coffee, but no one was open.
Dang.
Very common problem right now with no late cafes or no cafes open too late, you know.
What time do you close?
6.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
See? 6? Like
But
what?
I'd like to stay up until 7, but we're across the street from a
7?
Yeah, bro.
Starbucks.
I say
yeah.
stay up until 7:30, guys.
Yeah.
What time were you open till?
7:30, baby.
7:30?
Oh,
Dude.
yeah.
I bet like
Yo,
you're more.
I was open till 9 p.m. downtown when we reopened, and
That's
that lasted
insane.
about a month.
You are in a
Um,
communal space. Which
Yeah, that's
is-
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 is
Obviously, it makes way
crazy.
more sense for our downtown spot.
I wish people were open later. I want to get coffee late.
Yeah.
But I get
Dude.
why they're not.
Yeah. So I think that it was totally the call. Like it was really cool to have it open till 9, but it does create a different culture within the company. I feel like the cafe of like people having to clope in at 10. Like it's to work there. It definitely changes what it means to work.
Did you think
there,
it was
I feel like.
harder to like scheduling?
A little bit harder to schedule, and especially avoiding like clopins. And
Yeah.
when there is clopins, it sucks because you're getting out of there. If we close at 9, you're getting out of there at like 10:30, and then you're getting there. You know, it's just it's a little bit more tricky. Yeah,
And you just remodeled, obviously.
yeah. We just reopened 3 months ago now. Yeah.
And so that space is currently still a community space. Is it
Yeah.
still more within? Because there was a bar there, right?
Yeah. So we opened the bar after hours. So it's a cocktail bar.
Is it under 11th hour's name?
It's called After Hour. It's under 11th Hour LLC, but
Okay.
it's
So
called,
it's all now
all
you.
one big space.
Okay,
yeah.
sick.
Yeah. And now after the remodel, it's much more open. Like all the walls are out. It's much more cohesive versus like, you know, it's been like 7 years of like slowly doing this, slowly doing that, slowly doing this, where it never felt like one, because it was built over 7 years, you know, it wasn't one big thought out idea of a community space. And then this was finally that, you know,
I know
every
it
little
well.
thing along the way of like, okay, we want it to feel like one, like this is 11th hour, you know, the whole
Yeah.
space, but this is, when they think of 11th hour, it is a communal space.
Yeah, sick.
And the whole thing. Yeah.
How does
That's
it
cool.
work with the kitchen? Do they sublet from you? Like with full
Yeah,
steam and
yeah,
everybody? So
yeah.
you rent the whole.
Totally.
Thingy.
Yeah. So Andrea, the food lounge, was the one on the lease who rented to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 years ago, she was done, offered us the lease. We took it over. So now people sublease from us. Yeah.
Okay.
Full Steam, Chubbs, Fogline. And then we opened a bakery, which is crazy.
What?
We opened a bakery. We bake everything in house now.
Really?
Where do you guys?
That's
everything.
fucking when?
Where?
Yeah.
In that
Where?
communal kitchen? Is it in the
Yeah.
kitchen though?
Dude, it's in the back kitchen. It's the back. There's this like left
Guy's
alley
a fucking
part.
mogul, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm monopolizing
no.
everything. We will
Yeah.
make ourselves in house.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Chris
Dude,
is a
that
stealth
was-
parent. You're a stealth business owner.
I had no idea.
coming
dude.
up.
We like the baking team we brought on is freaking incredible. The girl who runs is named Talia. She is very passionate, very experienced, amazing. She's always coming up with new stuff. She helped kind of really like refine what the program is to the point where they are like asking me to brand the bakery. And they're like, can we make an Instagram for the bakery? So now it's called Early Hours Bakery.
Early hours.
Nice.
And
That's so sick.
yeah, it's pretty cool. You guys should definitely try out what we got.
So wait, are you gonna do wholesale too?
Yeah, that was my
Or-
question.
So no is the short answer, but I mean it's not really up to me at this point. Joel and Talia are kind of running the program, so like we do have a lot more space because Ocean to Table just moved out. So if that's something they want to do, then I'm all for it. But I'm definitely not. That is not the goal.
That's it.
Yeah.
You guys are on it.
How are you
Yeah.
organizing this? So let me break this down. You tell me if I you tell me if I'm right or
Good
wrong.
logistics
Yeah.
here.
You've got 11th Hour downtown, the coffee
Yeah.
shop. You've got 11th Hour, the coffee shop right across the street here on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
Then also downtown, the bar is yours.
Yep.
The bakery is yours.
Yep.
You manage the like. How many employees do you have in total?
47.
47.
Yeah.
Wow.
Braden and Joel button.
And then
I know that because I just did holiday cards, and I was
Yep.
like, wait, how many?
But I mean, like, what are you at now, though?
we're around 100.
Okay.
oh my god.
See, yeah, that's insane.
100.
Because I like, yeah, even 47 to here. I mean, because I'm at 30 right now.
I was expecting how many?
30.
That's a lot.
Dude, that's a lot
yeah,
too.
Yeah, it is, but not compared to 47 or 100.
I thought you were gonna say more because I'm thinking. So there's
Right?
probably 3 or 4 people in the bakery.
wait,
or
hold on.
that can't be right.
That can't be right. I think that's just downtown. No, I think that's
Is that right?
No, I think that's right.
Okay.
We have 13 on the west side.
Okay. Yeah, that
Then we
sounds
have-
about right.
4 people in the bakery. We have 5 to 6 people at after hours, which leaves 20 something
Yeah.
rather for the cafe downtown.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because
then
we don't have like other people, Full Steam, Chubbs, like everything that makes it look so much like, oh my God, there must be so many people working here.
Those
That's
aren't your
also the
people.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are not ours.
Mm.
and then so someone like your brother and would you say Talia
Talia. Yeah.
run the bakery?
Talia and Daisy. Shout out to Daisy. 'cause
Talia and
she's the
Daisy
shit as well.
They run the bakery. So that runs under the umbrella, but as its own
Yes.
business,
As its
essentially.
own business model. They do like, just like margining and what they can do under what circumstances and
Yeah.
what have you.
And then same thing with the bar. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Alan Burer runs the bar. He's my bar manager. He comes up with all the new cocktails. And then we did our new menu together where it's like basically like artwork for each one of the cocktails. But then he comes up with all of them with the bar as well. And then we'll do tastings, approve them and whatnot. But it's also kind of its own thing.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
It is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's
It
really
is cool.
amazing. And
That
there's
is
just so
cool.
much like initiative in each part that makes it very doable, and also just the space itself being so community based and all the different businesses working together. It's the only way it could have like happened the way.
It's such a
it
good
has.
opportunity to like grab that lease too. That was
Oh,
super
yeah.
super smart.
Yeah.
Because
I
that's
mean-
like, I mean, dude, that's what I want to do in like Monterey. Is like the space that you have with 11 Hour and like all of these cohesive businesses with inside of it. I think it'd be so sick
Right.
Yeah.
to have something like that in
I
Monterey.
well, and it's just a more trusted model because if you
Yeah.
have all these different businesses with their own following, bringing people
Exactly.
in, like
Just builds more community.
yeah, like if I took
Yeah.
over that lease from the get go, like that would have failed so fast,
Mhm.
But it was just that like there never really was too much risk to take on. By the time we had the option to take over the lease, it was like this makes sense. We have a good enough following. We have other people in the space that are also going to be successful. And then it came with a liquor license.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like 150
Like, come on,
G's.
son.
'Cause-
Yeah. Like, come
Yeah, because
on.
if you were gonna set up a standalone bar somewhere else, that would have been so much money.
It's
Oh my
insane.
God.
such a huge process.
So much money. And nor did I ever want to open a cocktail bar and go through those hoops,
I wouldn't want to go through the hoops, but the fact that you have a cocktail bar is just so sick.
Yeah,
No,
is.
it is.
I'm so
It is.
jealous. Like,
It
I'm
is,
just-
I,
dude.
yeah. I love
No, it
mixology.
was like-
Big fan.
Yeah, it was one of those lightning in a bottle. Like, I can't believe we got a liquor license, and because of that, I feel like we were able to steep like so much creative and fun energy into it because it wasn't a drag. It wasn't like, oh, it's gonna be this much to get that. Like, just like, oh, is this gonna work? It was just like, let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Damn,
super
congrats.
stoked.
That's cool.
Thanks.
Congrats on that.
Yeah. I feel like you're the community whisperer of Santa Cruz. Like when I was looking
100%.
at Collective's thing and you got congratulations, person of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Wait, did it actually happen? I thought it was just like a nomination type thing.
No.
It went through.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was like, we're not the only ones.
There's multiple people
Yeah.
of the year.
Oh, okay.
You're
okay.
one of the persons of the year.
Still,
Yeah.
so sick.
Yeah, that made
Yeah.
total sense to me. I was like, this just makes sense.
Totally.
You
Well, yeah. I when I saw that, I was like surprised and also just like, it's a little thing, but it felt good. It felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a really big strength of yours from the outside looking in, that you're really, really awesome with awesome at engaging with the community directly around you.
Well, I think that a part of making 11th Hour work from the get-go, even the event that like brought all of us together in one place, at least for me, that like first throwdown we did, which thank you so much for all coming to that. That was like that was like such a boost. I was like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
I have like camaraderie around this, and
That was
I
at
felt
the downtown
so.
location, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think that was the one that was on the back porch, still
Back
on the
porch.
propane
Yeah, it was
machine.
Like propane.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
like-
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
And
that
that was-
just gave me so much like, all right, like this feels good because other people are also, it just felt like very energizing. So that event, like the space itself, I feel like in order to be successful, we had to do events. We had to be a community space. And so I feel like throughout the years, that became my role of like throwing on trivia night, throwing on comedy night, doing so many different events to bring people together in the space.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, I think that is just kind of what I like to do. I like
Yeah.
hanging out with people. I like hanging out with friends. And so, yeah, I feel like the events in particular is why.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, it's almost, I don't want to say it's a lost art because I feel like everybody in this room, except for me, is pretty good at it. But it's so,
He's so humble.
no, I'm really terrible at
No,
events.
dude,
like,
you put
seriously.
your cowboy hat on, and it's a whole different show.
I like doing that, but I don't have
True.
to
If I see
organize
a
that. I
bolo
just
tie, I'm
show
like, all right,
up.
something's gonna happen.
I'm
right
good
here.
at showing up, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
the best organizer. I've been craving organizing more things because the more I go down this rabbit hole, it's how do I say this? The bigger we get, the more my role shifts and it feels less and less hands-on, and I feel more disconnected from the things that I originally fell in love with. You know, making
Yeah.
coffee, being
Yeah.
able to connect with a bunch of people a day. And I like my role now, but there's still part of me that's like, dude, I just kind of want to go mix it up. And I'm not a great plug-in in the cafe, honestly. It's like I
Yeah.
can hold my own on bar. It's not a problem, but
Yeah.
it's just a different kind of thing. So I'm just been thinking about what can I do to kind of flex that muscle, get people together, make it fun. And I don't know the answer.
You organize stuff with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super down.
Because we're all in the same boat, kind of. We're
I
all
have-
like more engaged with ourselves and other things, and we're less engaged in our. I'm still in my cafe quite a bit, but I don't really work in the cafe as much. But like that's where we could all shine.
It is true though,
together.
because I feel like I'm the same way with you right now. I'm kind of like a little confused with my role, and like everyone seems to be doing all of these like amazing things around me, and I'm like, but what am I like legit contributing to this? And it feels super strange because like, yeah, you go into the cafe and I feel like I'm in the way.
Right.
I'm just like,
I
I'm just
always
gonna make
feel
it
like
quick.
I'm in the way.
Yeah, it's just strange, and I'm just like, man, I want to do something where I feel like legit excited to like go to work in the morning and like this is my project, this is what I'm doing, and to turn that into like value. It's really interesting as like you get bigger and people are taking over and you're delegating, which is like the whole point, right, to own a business, but then you kind of get bored.
Yeah,
Not bored
it's
by
a
any
different
means,
kind
but
of work.
it's just a different kind of work.
Your job essentially is to make sure that other people can do their jobs. Like you're
Yeah.
empowering other people to do their best work, and that's different work than the work that we all kind of came up doing.
Yeah.
You
There's
know?
something to finishing a project, like finishing something you're working on, like that's actually work instead of just delegating others to do the work.
Yeah, I think now that like, because I used to love working in the cafe and like chopping it up with customers, but now I'm just like on the computer game, and I'm just like,
on the computer game.
I'm on the computer game, and like I get out every now and again, and like I still go to the cafes and I'm there every morning, but it's just like as you're saying, it's just a different type of work, and I'm trying to just figure out what is there to, how can I maneuver it. Because like, I mean, like growing up, like I always go back to skate park community, and it's like growing up with like skate park community is like, I don't know. I've always tried to, I feel like I keep trying to find it.
Oh yeah.
And it's
You're chasing the dragon,
I
dude.
do,
You
I
and me
know.
both.
It's just like, it's a
Yeah.
never ending thing,
I think
and
it's
it's
kinda
just
like-
like support. And that's like, I feel where I've gotten all my values from, especially
Yeah.
like bringing into business was just like, you're the skate park crew.
It's kind of like
so
growing
much.
up. You're like,
Yeah.
you look forward to summer as a kid, and then summer comes now as an adult, and you're kind of like, all right, this is what Q3 or whatever, You're,
Yeah.
or you're looking at like things differently. So
Yeah.
I think you just kind of have to shift into like doing things differently, and then finding kind of like you said, you're like trying to figure out what you want to do or what's next. I think you just kind of have to like accept that those days are gone.
That's not what I thought that
The
was
most
going.
depressing thing. It was so, you could hear a needle drop in here.
No, but it does feel childish because I've felt the same way for
Yeah.
I don't know many years where like I feel like I'm unneeded and other people are like for sure doing a better job than I would be doing in that role. I'm not needed here. I'm not needing there. Like,
Yeah.
what is my contribution to this whole system? And I'm like, okay, am I just the mascot? Like, okay, is that satisfying to be the mascot? Or like, what does it mean to be the mascot? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like currently trying to figure out how there's like events I do, but even those events are now like kind of run themselves.
Yeah.
And they're community events and whatnot, but like I'm trying to find work that feels like it is pushing the business forward, but also I want to wake up and actually do it.
Yeah. Super inspiring.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
waking up today to come to the podcast to do with all you guys, like that's exciting. That's fun. I feel, a little bit of fire. There's different things that can create a little bit of fire, but it is hard to keep finding it. And I'm like, is it just childish to keep finding it? Should I just fucking hunker down on the computer work?
No,
I mean,
I don't know, dude.
no.
you both have been in it for as long as you guys both have. I mean, what are you, 15 years of, or if,
Coffee all together?
yeah, I mean, like
or-
how far we go back?
Yeah,
with
I mean, I
coffee?
think I got my first barista job in early 2000s, 3,
Damn.
4, somewhere. So since then till now, I've been working only in coffee
yeah.
Wow.
in various
Same,
aspects.
And then,
2000, 2009.
you're right there.
Starbucks
Yeah.
was at the books.
The
so,
Bucks,
like,
yeah.
what lit you
Yeah.
guys' fire to stay in it and open your own thing, and then like to now, I guess, or like midway, what lit your fire?
Okay,
What?
you guys.
What do you mean?
I liked you guys a lot when I was going to.
I like you a
Verve.
lot.
I go into Verve.
talking.
This guy
Yeah,
right here.
you guys are cool. I went into Verve, and my brother also he like got me hired at Vertigo pretty much. So I really liked working with him. We actually worked really well together. We're very opposite, but you guys, like, I go into Verve and you guys are super cool, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. People do this. All right, this is fun. Because I came up from like different. I don't know. I like this kind of thing is not what I ever thought I would do. Because I was like grew up playing basketball. I grew up with a completely different group of people and kids and stuff. It wasn't like, and like now I don't really, how do I put this? I don't really like, I meet a lot of people in coffee and I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything in common with
jive with
a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
you people.
Dude, I feel
But
that
not
so
because-
much.
Not because I'm like, I'm so different. It's just that I just grew up with a lot of different types of people and I was around a lot of different people. So I resonated with you guys because I was like, oh, these guys are kind of like in my realm of like, you skated.
Yeah, dude.
You guys are into like rap and hip hop and that kind of thing. And I was like, this is like what I like. So this could work.
I wasn't wearing
You guys
suspenders
definitely-
or anything.
You weren't wearing, you had no
no wax
big
mustache.
like wax mustache. No,
That was the
kind
era.
of, I think it was like, I walked in there and I saw you guys and I was like, oh, cool. Like these guys are maybe kind of like me. I don't know. And then you were really nice to me, which a lot of people, like when you go into somewhere as a kid, people are not like super nice to you. They're just like, what do you want? And you guys are like, what's up? Nothing.
Girl, nothing.
Yeah.
It's really like coffee.
You guys
I
made
was like-
coffee really fucking cool.
Yeah, I
in
always
Santa
hated
Cruz.
when people. I always hated attitude. Like I couldn't stand attitude. It just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks so hard. Like even when I worked at my favorite job ever was do you know what Copeland's is? It's a
Yeah, dude.
big sporting goods store.
CCS or not CCS. It was the Copeland store in the mall.
So we had a Copeland's in Modesto. There's this big, huge,
Yeah.
think Sports Authority or Dick's Sporting Goods
Yeah.
or something. And then
Yeah.
there was one section of the store that was just the board shop.
Yeah.
So it was like when skateboarding was becoming a little more
Sick.
mainstream. I mean, this is fucked.
I bought skate
2000.
decks
I don't
there
know.
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. So that job was killer. everybody else had to wear a uniform. We got to wear whatever we wanted. We could kind of play our own music.
Yeah.
It was a cool place to be. But skate shops were just blowing it at the time because everyone was a complete asshole. And you'd have kids come in with their parents, and their parents were just super bummed that their kids wanted a skateboard.
Yeah.
They're just anything else besides skateboarding. And I felt like my whole job was like, okay, cool. I'm going to make the mom feel really good about what's going on right now and be super nice to her, be super cordial. I'm going to ease the tension in this experience for her and let her know that her son is not on a fast track to becoming a degenerate heathen, that he's actually a part of a good, supportive community that's going to be awesome. And you're going to get in a little bit of trouble, but that's
And
fine.
how old were you?
Yeah.
I mean, 18, 19, 20, something like that.
No, it's cool. You smart, like you thought like that.
So I just, because my mom, I
cool.
remember
Yeah.
the first shop I went into was this place called City Skates that was just about as core could get. And it's like the dude who worked there, really nice guy, but just looked crazy at the
Yeah,
time.
just
He had like
bunch
the big crazy dreads. He had his teeth capped and filed to fangs. His name was Wade. He was a super chill dude. And then the guy who owned the shop, Tom, was just about as punk rock as you could be. And it just made my mom squirm.
Yeah, just a bunch of Chad Muskas trying to
She
sell
just
you.
like wasn't into it. I'm like, they're really nice. It's cool. And she's just like, no.
This guy's
they're-
got fangs.
They're weird.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of empathize with what's going on. And the same thing with coffee. I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why be a jerk to anybody, especially when they're really interested in what you're doing? I just never understood that
Yeah.
whole attitude.
Yeah, and coffee shops are always cool to me because like you get so many different people that go into coffee shops. Like you get if you go to like a skate shop, it's gonna be one demographic, and if you're into that demographic of people, you just want to talk skateboards and stuff all day. That's a pretty cool place to be. But coffee shops, you get moms, you get doctors. It's like
Everything,
Beetlejuice,
man.
doctors, lawyers.
Doctors, lawyers.
Yeah, I studied doctors,
Yeah.
lawyers. But you get like moms, you get doctors, you get like pilots, you just get all these different varieties of people. And I think that's why I liked working at Starbucks, because working at Starbucks was actually pretty fun. And then when I worked there, it kind of shifted way more corporate, and it turned over from like, oh, we're about coffee, and then it just like flipped over like over 1 year.
Mhm.
I don't know if they like changed CEOs 1 year, but it really went weird. And that's, I was like, eh. And then when Vertigo opened was right around the time I started. So when Vertigo opened in 2010, I went there. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this seems not cooler than working at Starbucks, but it seemed cooler than working at Starbucks because it was like the same sort of like environment, but it was also like, oh, we're an underdog because we're not like as busy as Starbucks, or we're not like, we don't have the fancy tools and like all this stuff. But it was cool because you could meet people like this guy, Chris, and Jared, and all these guys. I was like, oh, that's when I discovered the community of it. I was like, oh, this is cool. But there were a lot less shops back then too. There was like Verve, and then there was like Ritual and Four Barrel and all these places, but you couldn't go to like a small town and find a really cool little specialty coffee shop like now.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. I mean, obviously, like every type of person walks through a cafe door,
For sure.
and I mean that's what like I really enjoyed about working at the cafe.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, the people you get to meet,
Yep.
especially in like the area that which we live in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like very strange about like the people that come in through the door that like are secretly famous all the
Yeah.
time. You know, it's like super tight.
Yeah.
But no fangirl policy at the shop, of course.
The sign that says, "We make famous people feel safe here."
Yeah, exactly. Right there.
Yep.
No, it's sick though. I mean, and like, yeah, the amount of community it creates. I mean, like, I worked for you for like 7 hours.
Wait, what?
Wait,
Yeah.
when?
What do you mean?
What?
When you bought the captain for like 24 hours?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God!
I
Wait,
don't-
can we talk about
I don't think
that?
we ever did that. Like, I don't think we ever made it all the way through. That was the worst.
It was the most insane thing.
I hated that whole experience.
So
It was
did
just
I.
like terrible.
Yeah,
I was like,
it is really wild.
I like completely forgot that was even a thing at one point, and now I remember there was like a moment, right, where it was like, is Cat and Cloud buying Captain Stoker or something
I mean,
like
I don't know
that?
if you know it was like we served Cat and Cloud for a Saturday.
really? I
Yeah.
think I knew that, and I
No,
forgot
dude. So
that.
like, yeah. So he told me
But that was like pre-game transition.
that was pre-game changer. That was
Right.
still like labeled everything Captain.
because we were just kind of like easing.
Yeah, but I like took Captain bags off the shelves and then replaced them with
Oh
Cat
my
and Cloud.
God, dude.
Tell us what happened, Chris.
Whoa!
I don't know. I mean, what? Like, do you have any like? Well,
All right, yeah, where do we begin? I don't even know. I mean, this story can go as far as it can, but I mean, like we can shorten it up in a sense. But
I mean, the shop that you now own existed. It was owned by somebody else. You
Yep.
worked there. We
Yep.
didn't know you, and it was for sale.
Yeah. After 3 months of being in business, let's
Was that it?
Let's start
Really?
that. Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
worked for him for like 7 months, helped build the whole place with Kelsey,
The guy with all the scarves.
the guy with multiple scarves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I met him.
yeah.
I met
Yeah.
him during that time. I forget his.
Did you
forget-
really?
I did. I talked to him for a while about it. Like
Yeah.
before you had bought it. And he was like trying to sell it. And he was in Santa Cruz at a coffee shop.
He told
and-
me when he was trying to sell it, he's like, if you find someone, I'll give you 10%. I was like, okay, and like, I was like, I was hitting up people left and right, but yeah, I mean, pretty much like, that was the agreement, to where Cat and Cloud was interested in the building. This, as a coffee shop already, I suppose.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
well,
and-
from a like, yeah,
Well, you guys were
Yeah.
at a point of expanding, right? Like of trying to like, is there good spots? And I mean, like, it's a good spot.
it's a good spot.
It's
I
a
mean,
good
it's a dude,
Good
it's a
spot.
great location. I mean, I was
Yeah.
there last weekend, and you guys always have a line out the door spilling onto the sidewalk
Oh,
every morning that
Yeah.
I'm there. It's it's popping, which
poppin'.
is it's awesome. It's a killer spot, killer location. It's already built. I mean, you guys know if you're gonna take over a coffee shop or build a coffee shop, taking over a coffee
Taking
shop's
over-
way tighter.
Yeah, way
Oh,
tighter.
yeah.
But that was super stressful because I'm probably the most squeamish about growth of all, like between me, Jared, and Charles. I'm definitely the more cautious one to where I'm just like, I don't know. And then this was, I don't even remember what year it was, but it was
2018.
kind of early on for us. And so my whole vibe on the thing the whole time, which I was having a really hard time expressing to Jared and Charles, and this is just my fault, is like, I don't think we should do this. And I couldn't even tell you why. It just, something about it just didn't feel right. But I didn't have the wherewithal to say, dude, let's just shut this down, because it felt like everybody else really wanted to do it. And the financial upside seemed really positive. Like, looking at the numbers you do, I'm like, man, if we had that location, that's a winner,
For sure.
And so for me, I'm just feeling like this gut feeling of, I don't want to do it. Don't know how to talk to my business partners about it, because I don't want to take potential, money off the table for them and for our organization. So just like struggling through it. And the meetings we had, I'm just like, oh, this spot's cool, but this freaking sucks. And I just wasn't, I don't know. It was bad. It was bad
It
for
was
me.
bad, yeah.
It was bad for me personally.
Is your gut?
It was my gut. My gut was screaming and I wasn't honoring it. And then the way that it all ended up working out was Jared called me, and I think I was like really late at night or really early in the morning, and we got on a group call, and he's like, yeah, Charles and I just talked and we don't think we should do it. And I was all, fuck yeah. Because we had found out more of the story about you and Kelsey, about how it was essentially you were under the impression it was going to be yours, or you were working towards buying it, and we didn't know that at the time. Because if we knew that at the time, we'd be like, nah, dude, whatever, like let them have it. So once it became clear that we were essentially taking it from you, that was just nail in the coffin. Even though we didn't really know you that well,
No, dude, not at all. I mean, like when I first talked to Jared, he was like, he's like, I think I can give you a job. He's like, you're gonna have to like start as like a barista and shit like that. And I was like, dude, I was like, cool. I was like, I guess I'm just doing this now, which was like super confusing. But like, I mean, yeah, dude, I was like only a barista for 3 months. Like I had no idea what I was kind of doing still. No, I didn't have any idea what I was doing, honestly.
Yeah. So it was just all bad. And then I'm really good at, I'm like, I'll stay away from things. Jared was hanging out with homeboy over at his whatever villa mansion thing, or running around with peacocks and whatever it was.
Peacocks.
I was just like, nah, dude.
We're gonna keep that.
I'm like, you go relationship.
Here,
I'll
try this scarf on.
I'll be
It's
over here.
100% silk.
But it was just too, I don't know, too fucking weird.
And this is
So-
also within like a matter of 5 days.
Well, and wasn't it like right after you guys had opened Aptos, or no, not Aptos.
No, way before
Abbott,
Aptos.
or
It must have been, you say it was 2019?
2018.
2018?
So it would have been.
So it was after Abbott,
yeah,
right before, we were maybe looking at Aptos'
Yeah.
lease or something like that.
I think it would have been September, October that we reopened under our ownership.
Okay, so it's probably we were dabbling in Aptos, maybe had a lease signed or not, because Aptos opened in 2019. So we were probably just starting that, and it was going to be kind of, okay, we're doing this, and then we can buy this, and we're like juggling it around. I don't know. It was a lot.
It was a lot, but it turned out to be the best case scenario. I think you guys kind of saved. I'm so happy you guys did that, and like, dude, so much appreciation for that. Like, honestly, like, I know that we didn't know each other that much, but like you, Jared, and Chris, like through and through, by like only meeting you guys for 4 or 5 days, like you heard us and you listened to us, and it was super rad to be able to see you back out and let him struggle.
I mean, you don't have to know someone very well to not be a dick,
I mean, that's what yeah, but like, and going back to it, like what we spoke to earlier, like attitudes are just like, yeah, they're frustrating.
It's just like,
it's crazy.
This is so...
And that's the thing about expansion, I feel like, is like, I don't know, like growing, if there's somebody that is from in that community, like opening up outside of Santa Cruz, let's say, like all of us, it's like, if there's people already in those communities that are going to open up something that has more value and is more true to that culture and knows it better, I feel like it makes more sense, like in my mind. But then it's like, if there was an opportunity that came up where it's like, well, nobody else is going to do it like we would do it there. And that's why it makes sense for us to do it. It's just interesting thinking about opening more cafes or expanding in the cafe realm. And that's so cool that that's how it panned out.
Yeah, we're kind of all here because of the Cat and Claw team.
Ha! You've given us way too much credit.
Well, I mean, Jared taught me how to roast too.
Yes, yeah. I remember that. I came by when you showed me to roast.
Yeah, he gave me a sheet of paper in an hour.
Yeah, Charles actually is the one that sat down with me and ran through financials on how to run a business. So
the
pretty sick.
Yeah.
Pay it forward is pretty real. It's like I've had so many people have done so many nice things for me when we were getting going that it's hard to not. It's like after Verve, we did a stint in San Luis Obispo and had a roasting company there that didn't last very long. But I remember I was talking to Scott Rayo because I'd known him for years, and I was just like, "Hey man, I'm like getting into roasting. I got your book, but do you mind looking at some of these curves?" And he was so nice, and he's a random ass dude. Like,
dude, I had Scott Rayo in my shop one time, and it is like one of the only times I had a pretty good afterburner fire.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And he comes over and he's like, a little bit of a problem, I see. I was like,
he had like a wild story with how his whole business got started. People like the townspeople like wanted to run him out of town, right? Like when he was running his like roasting company or something. He had a cafe, and he was trying to like make it work. Like I listened to something. I think maybe you guys had him on a podcast.
I interviewed him at some point. He was on our podcast, and I remember that story. I think he
like
bought an existing building, and like everybody tried to kick him out. I don't know, man.
He's a knowledgeable guy when it comes to all that stuff.
Yeah, he's a consultant. He gets paid for that stuff. So he was just here, look at these, and then
cool.
I was like, thank you.
Thanks
for the help.
Yeah, exactly. I said to Jared, thanks.
See
you on the other side.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's expand. Like, so what? How do you figure out what's next? Like, you got like 5 different businesses you're running. Like,
I'm very much on the same boat as you. It sounds like of just like very skeptical of growth and very skeptical of more. So I feel like. Yeah, with like especially the downtown location being so many different things, I'm very much want to just deepen what the downtown spot is like long term, like to like the point of like adding, way more articles and detail of the history of the building, the history of 11th Hour or coffee or events or it just being a staple downtown. And then keep the West Side. Love the West Side. It's so nice to have like the ability to just execute a coffee shop over here,
right?
And kind of like focus on coffee on the West Side and what 11th Hour is without the community space. And I'm pretty happy there. Like, I mean, it's enough. Like, it's more than enough for me. Let alone like baking and after hours. I just feel like it's something that I can have fun with for years to come. And we have our roastery over here, and build the roasting program more.
So you feel
and
good. You feel like you're
I feel good.
gonna chill for a little while.
I feel good. I've no interest or plans to open up more cafes
Okay.
until like it would have to be like I'm not choosing the expansion. The expansion chooses us a little bit of like this opportunity makes sense because every decision I feel like I've made so far, it has made sense. You know, like originally going into the food lounge, it was like, oh, I know her. She's my culinary arts teacher. Like this makes sense to get our start and keep going. The farmers markets make sense. The roastery over here, like right next to the people who did our mugs for our Kickstarter, Santa Cruz Clay.
Oh, sick.
You know, I'm like, oh, that's perfect for us, you know? And so like kind of what you were talking about earlier with like a gut feeling, my gut is like, dude, I was like burnt out for so like the past 2 years. And I feel like I've been taking a beat of like just pumping life back into my body and my mind and making sure I feel like, I don't know, like proud. Like I could come to this table and be like, what I'm doing, I'm stoked about.
Yeah.
And I don't want to come to this, you know, come back to this table in 2 years and be like, yeah, so I did a bunch of stuff that I bet everyone here is probably like, what? Like,
Yeah.
and not that direct, you know, but just in general, like feeling good about, you know, the decisions. So I'm feeling pretty good. I definitely feel like I want to deepen the roasting aspect and sourcing. And I feel like I haven't fully gotten into going to Origin, and just deepening the green coffee aspect of 11th Hour and all that. Which I've actually talked to Jared about going to Origin with you guys.
Oh, you should.
To Honduras.
Yeah. What's up?
To Honduras.
Yeah, to Honduras.
Yeah.
Oh, you should definitely
Same.
go.
He mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's her name?
Dulce?
Dulce.
Yeah.
She actually texted me and was
Oh,
like
cool.
asking if we wanted to be part of like the friendship.
Best Friends
the
Club
Best Friends
stuff?
Club.
Yeah.
And then was like, yeah, we're going to Honduras, and I was like, oh, sick. That sounds super tight.
Yeah.
Nothing ever came of it. It was quite some time ago. But that would be very cool. Honduras is sick.
Yeah.
I love Honduras.
Yeah,
Power,
no, I'm
power
stoked.
trip.
Power trip. Yo,
Dude,
how sick would that be?
Let's all go.
Just go.
Let's
Yeah,
all
let's
go.
go.
We can riff ideas the whole way.
Relatively inexpensive in the, you know, the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, it's really not.
My
I mean,
girlfriend's always trying to
it's
get me to
not
travel.
insane.
She's always trying to get me to travel, and she's like, "This is a perfect opportunity for you to go travel somewhere. Go look at a coffee farm." And her family's from El Salvador, so it's like, you know, I could travel a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm like you though. I'm kind of like I'm not a good traveler.
Yeah, I'm more picky than I used to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, I'll sit back. I haven't been to Origin for years. It's been a while. I feel like I ran it and I was like, cool. That's great. It's definitely a life-changing experience.
It
you know,
is.
first couple times, and it is for sure magical. I think everyone who has the ability to do it should do it. If you're in coffee, it'll just, I don't know, seeing that shit will change your perspective for sure. But now I just feel like more of my work is here. The opportunity cost to go on the big trips all the time. Plus, like Dulce is just down to go. Like she's down to go, and Chuck probably goes the second most. And he's a good traveler too.
Really, I wouldn't assume Chuck would go.
So Chuck, yeah, I mean when Chuck left Wall Street, he moved to Ethiopia.
I remember
to
this
work
actually.
for TechnoServe. So he was working in Ethiopia, South Sudan, and he was like, him and Jen were just woofing around the area, didn't have a house, just staying with whoever. Chuck's down for whatever.
It's cool.
Like anything. So Chuck travels really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only reason he came back is because he got malaria multiple times, but he got a really bad case, and they're just like, we got to get you to a doctor in the U.S.
Yeah, I feel like I remember him telling
so
me
you got to go.
about this.
Yeah, he's down.
Guatemala, I think, would be my favorite.
Guatemala's easy too.
Guatemala's super easy.
Antigua's
Costa
just
Rica.
nice
Oh my
and chill.
gosh,
Costa Rica's
Antigua's
easy.
one of my favorite places on this world.
Yeah, the
It's
only
so cool.
Origin trip I've done to date is Mexico, but it was on the border of Mexico and Guatemala. So
Oh,
like I
cool.
could have one foot in either, which was really cool.
You're deep in it.
What was
Deep in
that?
Deep in it.
Yeah.
Straddling.
Oh yeah.
You took
yeah.
your roaster, right?
What was that?
You took your roaster, right?
Yeah. My oldest staff to date, Brandon.
Oh, I was like,
Devine.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I think took the roaster
Took the whole
down
roaster.
there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
took my
yeah.
roaster. I was
Get a
roasting
roaster
out there.
down.
Yeah.
I was roasting at altitude. No one could fuck
At
with
altitude.
me, dude.
The Diedrich down there. I was like, wow.
It was infrared.
What are you roasting on, Evan?
I have a little. I mean little. A 1 kilo Mill City roaster. It's cool. It does 2 pounds at a time. Takes forever.
Is it on
to
propane or
do-
gas?
It's on natural
Natural gas.
So we got it
Nice.
hooked up. Took us 6 months to get the permit to get it going.
Dang.
6 months?
Yeah, the city moves slow, and by slow I mean extremely slow.
Yeah, snail trail.
It took 6 months, and then they finally had to get a hole filled in in the vent pipe, and the guy was like, "Go to get a certified welder out here to fix that." And I'm like, "My dad welds." Like I got all these people that
Should have
can
called
weld.
me, man.
I know. Yeah, you have your certs? Do you have like
I used
certification?
to. I used to.
See,
Yeah.
so we had to get someone out there to fix it, but we have a 1 kilo Mill City roaster. Works really well. I eventually want to get like something bigger, obviously, like a 6, something that can do a
Yeah.
little bit more, keep it consistent. But
Dude, I should give you my old fluid airbed roaster. It's a 2-pounder.
really,
You know, you could do it side by side.
You could do double Dutch and
could
blend
do
them
double
together.
Dutch.
That'd be so
Yeah.
sick.
that actually would be cool.
Dude, I'm gonna give it to you.
Are you sure?
I swear to God, I'm gonna give it to you.
I swear to God.
I'm putting
He's
it
like,
in-
I've been
I'm
trying to
putting it in your
offload this
car,
thing for
dude.
months.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
no, it'd be so full
get rid of
circle.
this thing, I swear.
It'd be so full circle because that's what I roasted. The one you reviewed, the
Oh,
coffee
cool.
you reviewed.
yeah. So yeah,
Damn.
that's awesome. That'd be cool. I have. So I have 2 now. I have one side by side. So I got the little 1 kilo. So the roaster is located. So our initially our first business was a pop up inside of a garden shop, which you maybe gone. No, you went to the farmhouse one.
I went to the
after.
farmhouse.
Yeah, you went
Yeah.
to the garden shop.
Mhm.
So we were there, and then we went and we moved our cart across the street to a cafe that was closed, and we reopened it with them. And then we moved into the location 2 doors down from our current cafe, which is where our first like brick and mortar cafe was. That was like the week of COVID hit and shut everything down. We signed a lease, like drove over to drop off our lease agreement, and we were like, "Oh, okay, everything's closed, perfect." And it was just like, due to coronavirus, we will not be in office. I was like, all right, how long is this going to take?
Yeah.
And then we dropped it off literally like right
How long
behind
is this
Captain.
Rona?
So yeah, how long is this Rona?
Oh,
yeah,
What is
how
it?
long-
Roning
My
for?
coronavirus
Roning
is.
for.
Yeah.
I thought like 2 weeks
Sure,
max.
I did
when
too.
it
I was-
popped up.
oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
fucking
I remember I drove to Monterey and I was like, by summertime we'll be fucking
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah,
We'll
no
be
big
carrying
deal.
nothing.
And so we dropped off our lease agreement there. We signed a lease on the spot, and then 3 years later, that our lease agreement was up, and then the people that had like a smoothie place 2 doors down opened there. They left, so we just moved our business to that bigger space. Had like a walk-in fridge, walk-in freezer, had all kinds of amenities that we didn't have to build out, and then it had a full bar and drains and everything. So I was just like, yes. We moved over there, and a year later, our old spot, which is 2 doors down, opened back up. So we put the roaster in the back of that unit. And then in the front, we opened a record store. So we have a record store in the
What?
front. Yeah.
Whoa.
So we have a record store in the front. And it's like a record retail shop, which I'm going to trim down a little bit this next year. I'm going to add more albums and take away some of the retail and then utilize the space for more coffee. Then the back space is where we have the roaster. So we roast in the back, records and retail in the front, and then 2 doors down is our cafe. So it's
Dude,
pretty
that's
cool.
so sick.
It's cool. Yeah. I mean, and the records are fun because we spin vinyl at our shop. That's how we listen to music.
Dude, I think
So-
hands down, like you have some of the best music.
Oh,
Dude, no,
Like-
you're like the only one here to pull it off. Like,
It really
I think we
is.
can all say it would be incredible
Spinning vinyl?
to have
Yeah.
a freaking
Yeah.
vinyl set
I
up
love
in
it.
the
it's
cafe.
a task, dude. I mean, like you have to, if you're on register and it's like, okay, so we got 2 mochas, we got a pastry, all of a sudden
Yep. Gotta flip that track.
it's like 1 second, please.
Oh,
You turn around,
yeah.
you turn around, and so you gotta like, it's definitely a task, but it adds to like the environment because people are actually kind of like stoked to see what's sitting up on a
Yeah,
little
it's
shelf.
super
to-
cool.
Yeah, I know you went in there one time and you were like, you posted on your story, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what they were listening to.
The
It's probably-
Used.
oh yeah,
It's one of my favorite albums, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, my guy.
Yeah, so we definitely get to like experiment with people bringing in their own albums and listening to their own music, but it also forces people to play through a whole album,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of rare. Like most places you go into, it's just Spotify or it's just like one song after the other, but you have to listen to the whole album. The rule is you don't take you gotta listen to the whole album. So whatever you're gonna put on, you
You're
better want
committed to,
yeah,
yeah.
you gotta
What-
commit to what you want to
Can't
listen
get
to.
out.
No,
What about you guys? How's the music work at the cafes? Like, are you just say, fuck it, anyone can just go over
Great
there
question.
and play it? Or is there a set playlist? What are we working with?
We don't have playlists. Basically, the way we look at it's kind of a loose training. It's essentially the music has to match the vibe of the cafe.
Of course.
Yeah.
So 6:30 in the morning, it's got to be a little bit more mellow. We can't just shock someone into their day. And
You're
then
not that metal shop.
yeah, exactly. Which could be fine at 11 or 12 on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday when it's just pumping, kind of
Yeah.
anything goes. So it's, it's a bell curve that matches
That's the
the
mood.
busyness curve of the
But
day.
who's
don't-
responsible?
It's just whoever's on staff.
Got it, got it.
Whoever feels the most excited about it. There's no hard and fast, you have to do this playlist or you have to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's pretty open season.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd love to do something like vinyl because it just feels so magical.
It's
but
cool.
you
Yeah.
really got to curate the music.
Yeah.
You really
you
do.
cannot rely on
Yeah.
just Spotify or whoever to just put on a mix and it'll run for 5 hours or whatever.
And that's like the tricky part. We do have some people that come up and like, what is this? And it's like, my staff's like into Deftones or whatever they're playing, but I'm just kind of like, you're only here for however amount of time. They're gonna be here for a while, so they're gonna put an album on. It's gonna be the same music. So like,
Sometimes shit gets weird. You just remind
That's
me
what
of
I'm saying,
something
man.
that-
Like, yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
so Jenny and I came in to Swift and it was afternoon, 2:00, not too far off from closing.
yeah,
Mellow.
Yeah.
There's just a couple other people in there. Hella chill. Somehow, really loud volume too. Freebird is on.
Sick.
So Freebird is pumping in the cafe, and if you know Freebird, it's just like a fucking 5-minute
Yeah.
guitar
Wow.
solo
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
end.
yeah,
It
there
just
is.
keeps going and
Yeah.
going
Oh,
and
yeah.
going, and we're just sitting in the cafe 2:30. I'm just like, someone's gonna fucking turn this off.
Yeah.
She's like, you should go say something. I'm like, nope, someone's gonna turn it off, and nobody turned it off. They
Oh,
just went
that's
all the way
awesome.
through Freebird, and
Yeah.
I was
Man,
just so
you're
bummed
like,
and
"Staff,
embarrassed.
do me good right
so
now."
sometimes shit like that happens, but most of the time we're pretty good.
yeah. I mean, like we definitely have like our people. Like, I tell like my staff, I'm like, in the afternoon, we got these 2 older ladies that come in, they chill, they have green tea all the time. I'm like, you see them come in, maybe just slowly turn the volume off and then just flip the album, put something else more mellow on. But like for the most part, it's kind of just like, yeah, if you're in here, it's gonna be a little. But that's the thing about like vinyl. It's kind of like live by the vinyl, die by the vinyl. You got an
Mhm.
album on that's a little
Yeah.
bit more aggressive. It's gonna be aggressive for like the next 20, 30 minutes or whatever. But our space is also kind of small, so we don't have like a big open area. It's just like people are getting more stuff to go and,
Right.
and in and out the door.
I
And then,
wish-
yeah.
I wish we had more speakers
Yeah.
over here because the space is so big, and
Yeah.
the more speakers you have, the less volume you can
Yeah.
get away with.
Yeah.
And that is a good feeling. You fill the
Yeah.
room, but it's not obnoxious.
We have 4. We technically have 4. I want to get a 5th one, but we have 2, one above the register, one above the bar, one in the lobby, and then we have one in the restroom. I had to run that speaker
restroom.
wire all the way to the
Nice.
restroom. Yeah, and our restroom is like a vibrant pink like room. So you walk in, the walls are pink, and then it has a fluorescent pink light. So if you get the right song playing in the restroom, it's
Magical.
It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, you just-
But if you get the wrong song playing, you're like, someone's gonna open the door and kill me.
Yeah.
It's,
No,
yeah,
dude,
it's,
for
it's
the
a-
remodel, that's literally what I was saying. I was like, we need to have like 9 or 10 more speakers because then we can turn it up, but it's more immersive, but it's still low where you can talk.
Yeah.
Because if you have just 1 or 2 and you need that volume, it's
Yeah.
going to sound shrill and
Yeah.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
And just-
Yeah.
And you want to be able to have
Uneven,
those
like-
conversations
right.
easy, but you don't want it to feel quiet.
It's hard,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music game is
Yeah.
You know what's
it's
crazy?
a tough one.
I go to Verve on Pacific Avenue. I'm like, they had the same speakers, like from probably like a million years ago. Because I was like listening, like looking up, and it was just, I was like, whoa.
Still sound good?
I don't know.
I don't think that space ever sounded good. That space is so boomy because it's just
Yeah.
it's a big box
Yeah.
and then hard floors,
It's a
hard.
spaceship.
I was like
Yeah,
looking
it's
up
just-
there, and I was
yeah.
like, these should look like the same speakers.
It's a
I've
lot
seen
of
up there for
bouncing.
a
What
long
about
time.
when you were working the cafe? You're on bar. Like, what was your relationship to music when you were a
Ooh,
barista?
what's the
Fucking
go-to?
turn that shit up, make it loud and obnoxious.
See, man, I'm the same way. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Like, we're gonna party. If
Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah.
bar, we're gonna party, and you're gonna deal with it. And I think here's the magic. This is what I'm really good at. I'll make everybody feel good about it.
Yeah.
That
You know?
is fucking
Yeah.
it.
I will match my energy, even if the person doesn't think they want it. By the time they leave, they're just like, "That was sick, dude!"
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm talking
we're
about.
going. You
That's
know,
why you guys. I was in Verve, and you guys were working, and I was having a weird day, teenager, and you guys were really nice to me, and I felt you guys were listening to. I don't know why I remember this. It was one of like the offshoot Big Boy albums.
like Run the Jewels or something like that.
Oh,
Yo.
it was a long
Did
time
he ever
ago.
do anything with them or no?
No, I don't
Killer
know.
Mike? I don't know.
I don't know, but it was something like that. You guys were just like super psyched, and then you were just like pumped up,
Yeah, I get pumped up.
Yeah.
The music gets me pumped up.
Jared was on register. He was wearing one of those little hats.
He was wearing-
Stacy
Oh,
was
yeah.
working
His little hats.
like a beanie with like a little brim or something
Oh
like that.
my
One of those
gosh,
hats.
dude.
And then it was like
Classic
you and Stacy
style.
working. You guys are just fired the fuck up. And I
I
was
love
like,
that.
this is cool.
To
and
me-
that's what I'm saying. Right? So
And I love it too. And I think like some of my favorite days on bars, like I can't really hear anything. Like
Yeah.
the audience brings not the audience.
yeah.
I mean, they are an audience in a sense.
Really, though,
Yeah, they are an audience. You know,
You're on
we're on
stage,
stage.
yeah.
We are all, yeah. You know, but I think like, I mean, I have some baristas now that are just like they want to hear everyone. They want everyone to hear their drink when they first call it out. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it, but like,
But
you know,
where's
where's
the
the exciting
energy?
atmosphere?
And
yeah,
then-
like the sun's out, the garage door's open. I mean, like let's turn the fucking
Yeah.
keys up.
Yeah.
And the
Guys, like, come
barista's
on.
energy has to match that, because if you come in
Yeah.
and so Diego asked me, he's like, what's your favorite album to play when you're on bar?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, when I was working at Ritual, the Carter 3 came out.
Ooh.
And we would
Yo.
just run that over and over again. And it's such a good album. It, you know, and it's pretty crass at times.
Yeah,
it's
there
a
is
little
some-
aggressive. But if that's on really loud and you come to the shop and the barista's just got their head down and is not looking at you and is not engaging, then it could feel a little off-putting to
Yeah.
where if that's on same high volume, you come in, you're like, fucking cracking, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
That's the
What do you need?
Yeah,
Like,
I
what
think
can I get for
no.
you?
Yeah, my favorite album I think is Lords of the Underground.
Oh, dude, which one? The first one or the
Yeah,
second one?
Here come the Lords.
Here comes Chief
Yeah.
Rocker.
That one, yeah, Chief Rock. Oh, and that and Das Effects. I think those are my two
Mm.
favorites because you guys ever listen to Das Effects? Like a hip hop duo from the early '90s, but it's very like Looney Tunes rap, but it's just very like fast, like higgity biggity biggity, like that kind of stuff.
Biggity,
But
biggity,
it's,
biggity.
it's really really good, and it just I think
think
anyone who's in there is gonna listen to it, or like Daft Punk.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Oh, Daft Punk was
yeah,
good.
just
yeah, I
like-
feel like you have to match the BPM of like how busy is it,
Yep.
and then you can ramp up depending on how
Yeah.
busy it is. But it totally is. It's like if you're having a really good time on bar and to the music, you're into the music. Like
yeah.
Everyone else
it's
is
a
gonna feel
different
it.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's so funny because now when I'm not, I'm just like in the cafe. I'll change the music. I'll be like, guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
too crass.
Yeah.
You know, no, but,
seriously. Yeah. Too crass.
but it's just because
Yeah.
it's not aligning with who's actually like working.
Yeah.
It's just not working for
the
them.
energy, man. It's so important.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think about it. We used to tell it in orientation. There's that fish market in Seattle, in Pike's Place, where it's just a tourist shit show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But their whole thing is you order a fish and someone pulls it out of the case and they throw
Throw
it
it,
across
yeah.
the market and somebody catches it, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we're
Like catch it in
making
newspaper.
coffee, but we're putting on a show. And there's a
Yeah.
million ways to do it. And it doesn't have to be corny throwing fish, but
Right.
it's just more entertaining when you
It
see
really
someone
is.
enjoying what they're doing and they're
Yeah.
in the moment too, you know? Like that's such a huge opportunity.
Yeah, if you want to be there, other people are going to want to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You forget about the wait times too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Because
just like, see you later. We're all having a good
you're
time.
stoked.
Everyone's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a wing
The
stop.
cafe's bumping. Yeah, exactly. It's like a wing stop.
Yeah, no. I
What
watched
sauce
two
would you
employees at
like?
Wingstop get into a full-on fight, and I was like, "Well, I guess things are good at the cafe. No one's fighting." Like a manager and an employee got into an actual fist fight at the Wingstop,
Damn.
and I was just picking up. I was like,
work drama, dude.
"I know." As they're fighting mid-fight, they're on top of each other. Just
Well, they're actually fighting.
yeah. And
That's
I was just like,
impressive,
did you guys
honestly.
Did you guys forget my fries? And it just just actual fighting. Yeah, I mean, like you go to certain places and the energy's off.
What about for you guys for expansion and cafes?
Dude, we're talking about it right now.
Yeah?
It's yeah. I mean, we've talked about a few different things. So
Because there was one in the mix,
we
right?
had signed a lease in Los Gatos.
Yeah.
But we
Oh, that's right.
we had grossly underestimated the cost that the demo and the build out would cost, like how much it would cost. So we have been sitting on that, paying $8,000 a month for the past 3 years.
Shut
and
up.
we're not going to do it. Charles has been working on finding someone to take over the lease. And I think we're
Whoa.
either locked in on that or really close to having someone absorb like 80 or 90% of that.
How long is the whole lease?
Whoa.
It's 5 years.
Okay.
So for a
Couple
couple more
options.
years, we're just going to have that whew,
Mhm.
go away. But yeah.
Was that
Dude, I am so sorry.
Yeah, that's
that's terrible.
Was the demo, and you said you grossly underestimated the amount of like money that would go into it. Was it just that, or was it just like Did you guys also have any other? Was it? I mean, it's probably also a really good thing that it didn't work out because everything's supposed to work out for a certain reason.
So
Sounds like it didn't.
the
really-
spot was cool. It was an old salon, and what we were doing at that time was we wanted more, had a staff that was really hungry, and Herman and Levi went building shopping, and we're just like, if you find a spot, we'll support you. You know what I mean? And we'll figure out how to make this happen. They found that spot, and we checked it, and we're just like, this is awesome. We had Nico, who builds out all our spots, come in. We looked at that, and he's like, yeah, we could do this, that, and cool. And then I think my best guess as to what happened was I was just like, cool, you guys got it. And but everyone was doing that same thing at the same time. And then when it came time to actually look at what it was going to take to turn it into what we needed to turn it into for us to feel good about it, because cool building, but it's kind of like it needed everything. Full demo. There was some
Grease trap.
HVAC stuff we didn't account for, grease trap, fire sprinklers, which are insanely expensive.
I assume the landlord wasn't willing to do any of that.
No, the landlord was, man, it's really uncomfortable. Landlord was pretty straight up with, we're going to give you X amount of free rent. And that free rent would have been a really great deal for us. Like it would have allowed us to do the build out and then just start paying when we were open.
Yeah.
But I think since no one was actually fully on project managing that one, which in the past it had been Charles, he's an awesome project manager. So he had been doing all of our working with everybody from the banks to make sure that the leases and loans happens to the city permitting, Nico every step of the way. And then we all interface a little bit, but he was kind of keeping the thing on track, and we didn't have that stronghold. And it was no particular person's fault, which was the problem. Like everything was just kind of up in the air. So that ended up sucking really hard because we got back in there. It was like, we were just looking at the numbers. It's like, dude, we just
no chance.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It would have been easily $500,000. Like that would have been the bare minimum of
how big of a space?
It wasn't super big. It was a little smaller than Swift. It's hard to, I can't remember the square footage. It was.
So you're probably around 2,000.
Like Aptos?
Pretty close to, probably Aptos.
Yeah.
And it was a salon that had all these funky little rooms. Anyway,
that's cool though.
It sucked. We're just like, fuck, dude. We kicked it around for months. Like, what do we do? Do we just play through? We also felt like we were at a place where Levi transitioned out. So Herman and Levi were kind of co-leading the retail situation together.
Yeah.
And that was an experiment coming off. We've been through many iterations. So it was, individual team leader at every store. And then we had a couple team leaders leave, and Herman and Levi were the kind of next in line. So we're just like, I wonder what it would look like to put them together and have them kind of co-lead all the stores as a collective. So that was the era we were in. And Levi was thinking about leaving, and he ended up leaving, I think, a little bit after that.
He's not there anymore?
No. So
okay.
He has a space right over here in one of these little artist spaces.
Yeah.
And he makes these really cool hand-sewn notebooks. They look like the most artistic version of a field notes book. And he finds these obscure magazines and obscure newspaper clippings and rare kinds of vellum paper and sews them all together. So I bought a 3-pack from him downtown. He makes them all there. He's doing one of our employee passports for us.
That's cool.
Sick.
And then he'll be downtown in front of Bookshop Santa Cruz, like street vendor style.
But he's like a legit, like, I don't want to use the word hipster, but like he's like legit, like very thrifty. I hate when people say hipster.
I don't want to say like
but,
legit hipster,
but like because like to me, like a legit like hippie type, like just
He's
someone
a
who
quirky
just
crafter dude.
crafty and just really like he seems really like creative.
He is creative and he's up for the adventure. So the best way I can describe him was there's 2 things that I remember about Levi when he started working for us. One was he's a white guy with dreads. So that was already pretty interesting. And then the second thing was, I got this project going on. Oh, what are you doing? He's, I'm building a platform just in the middle of, because he lives out in the middle of wherever. So he's
Yeah.
building this platform in the middle of the woods. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know. I'm just building it.
What?
Just for art's sake. He's just crafting this platform in the middle of the forest just for funsies. So he'll do things like
That's
that.
the real deal right there.
And
Yeah,
he's,
that's
just,
it.
he's just about it.
I understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from now.
So the
You
fact,
can do anything on this platform.
yeah, it's just like I'm down for
Alright,
whatever.
dude.
You know, he
Classroom
was
practice.
collecting
Yeah.
vintage
Yeah.
sewing machines for a while and selling those. Like he's down
He's
for
like an
those
old
kinds
soul.
of artsy.
Old
yeah,
soul.
exactly.
That's awesome.
So seeing him down there, it makes perfect sense.
I like Levi.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so cool. He's just one of those people to when you he's just he is who he is and he's not trying to be anything else, and it's
Yeah.
really refreshing because you can
Yeah.
take it or leave it. He's like,
Yeah.
this is who I am, and I
No,
just
I really like him.
Yeah.
yeah, I
I got to
enjoy
know
people
more
like that.
once we were on the west side, and super cool dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really awesome. So he was leaving, which is like a bummer because he was just, you know, he's one of those staples. And then we're in this place where it's just like, dude, okay, the money's really high for this space. I don't even think we have the leadership to be able to execute another cafe well.
Yeah.
It's not that far away, but it's still a whole store that has to work.
Yep.
So we've been kind of eating that one.
But also, I feel like a perfect next location in a way at Los Gatos. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been,
was-
like,
it's,
Los Gatos was on the come up.
Yeah.
Still is. I mean,
I mean, it would be killer. Like if we had more money, disposable income, like now I felt like we could make that work. The build out's still more than we want to do, but we've talked about, okay, what does the South Bay look like? Not necessarily San Jose, but like this Palo Alto, Los Altos, Menlo Park thing
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
feels, you know,
that's what me and Joel have talked about as
Yeah.
well. Like, I mean, we've scanned Santa Cruz and been like, okay, is there any spot that would be, you know, somewhat in need, you know,
Yeah.
I guess like a good spot. And as of right now, we couldn't really find like, okay, you got 41st. Yeah.
Right.
Past that, there's like
Midtown's like a
SoCal,
weird dead zone.
Midtown is a weird dead zone, and it just feels like it doesn't necessarily need it, you know.
yeah.
You have Verve's Roastery right there as well.
Right.
And then you keep going. I mean, there's Watsonville, but that's a lot farther. But you already have Honey Lux there as
Yeah,
well.
Honey Lux, yeah.
And they were like my mom grew up in Palo Alto, and so it's like Palo Alto, Los Gatos, Menlo Park. San Jose doesn't have that much. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Not for the
Yeah.
population that it
Not
has.
for the
Not even
population.
close.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
of like there's
And there's so many neighborhoods that are just massive neighborhoods, and I feel like if there was the right amount of investment, and then the hardest part would be having leaders that works for, right, that are on
That-
board.
Are gonna be either live there
Live
or
there
down
or-
to go over the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Ideally live there, but it's it's like a whole cultural matrix that you're trying to plug in. And I don't know where we're gonna end up. I don't know where we're gonna end up going with it.
Yeah.
But it's lately we've been having these conversations about what does this look like long term in
Mhm.
terms of quality of life for ourselves and
Yeah.
providing a certain quality of life for other people, and it's just a like really tricky conversations.
It is. It's really interesting to think about, like, I don't know, it's like your baby. Like, it's like everything that you've aspired to do and like you put so much energy into, but like, yeah, what does that look like in even it's like 7 to 10 years, you know, or even past that, obviously, of just like honing in or.
And then there's everyone's got a tap out point
Mm-hmm.
to where I need X or I have to move on. And, you know, we're talking about who's been, and nobody on my team has expressed any of this, but we've talked about, you know, everybody wants to build something for the future. Like Herman's been with us for 7 years.
Damn, really?
Whoa.
yeah.
7.
So he is, and he's a superstar.
Herman's the man.
Herman's the fucking man.
Love Herman.
In so many different ways. And, you know, Mark's right there with him. And these people are hungry. They're motivated. They're super down for the culture. And if I had to assign, you know, a monetary value to them, it's hard to do it. I'm
Mhm.
just like, well, they're invaluable, essentially.
Yeah.
But, you know, getting to the age where it's like, okay, the way I feel about it is they have really, really awesome jobs. I don't know if I could say they have a full-blown career. And
Yeah.
what the way I'm thinking about it as a business owner is, okay, either turn it into a career, and turning it into a career allows them to stay indefinitely, essentially, or as long as they choose to, and not have to be forced out because, hey, man, I just want to build a life for myself and have these kinds of things or live this kind of lifestyle. Or be like, yeah, we can't do that because we just don't have that money. We're not at that scale. And then, see those people leave. And I don't think either one's wrong or right, but it's just, I'm trying to like
Timing.
It's timing, and it's like filling Herman's shoes sounds like a pain in the butt. Like, honestly, like that sounds like a lot
When you
of
think
work,
about it, it's like, yeah,
right?
damn near impossible.
Yeah, it's how do I do that?
Yeah.
You pull in the. It's tricky because I'm holding so many different things at once. It's like every time
Yeah.
we've lost someone that we thought was impossible to replace, we've replaced them, and it
Yeah.
has worked out well.
Yeah.
And in most cases, the person who's coming in has done better than the person that precedes them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a truth that I've just seen in our business over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is always going to be true if the organization is striving to do better, like somebody will arise, but it's like, it is really daunting to thinking about, like, because I think what's definitely true is like nobody could ever be them when, like, at the time,
Right.
and then there is a time where, but it's like losing people, so difficult, so much reinvestment. And then I feel like the conversations of growing for us are like, well, if we don't open up more, we don't have people that are current, like we have Riley and Daisy, our current managers. And if we don't create more in some capacity, we will lose them. And then it's like long-term, if we're having to constantly reinvest to upkeep quality and make everything run smoothly and not have to be super involved, do we need more shops?
Right.
Because then we can invest in these people more.
Right.
I can have Riley or Daisy become a regional manager that maybe can, actually afford to pay them this much. And then I don't have to be the owner that's, running everything once I'm 40 or, 45
Right.
or.
Right. It's like, what do you want your day-to-day to look like? Do you want your day-to-day, cool, every 6 months to a year, I'm going to be training up a new head of retail operations.
Yeah,
or
and I'm going to have
a
to cover shifts.
new wholesale like wholesale too. It's just,
A whole
Mark
different.
has relationships with these people. They know him. He understands their needs, and I'm just like, you can't just jump into that and pick right up where he left off. Like,
I'm not Mark, but I'm here to help.
so what's up?
What do you want?
What do you want?
Well,
Coffee?
Mark
Is it-
usually emails me on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I usually get a text message at the end of the week.
Yeah. What do you want? Like
Well,
a bag or
you want a
need some-
bag?
someone to
And that's
fix
that
a
like
brewer,
quality,
or-
which is like you will suffer. Some people will drop you as an account. I feel like I got to see that with Verve at a certain era. There was like this era where there's a shift of everyone working in the wholesale department or something, and there's just certain people that didn't have the right communication or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I hope that never happens to us. Like I
Right.
never
Yeah.
want to have that time where we get dropped by a wholesale account because
For real.
we weren't attentive enough.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Head of sales.
Yeah. So head of sales.
Hey,
Head of
that's what we're
sales.
here
Head of
for.
sales.
Yeah.
Head of
Forever,
sales.
baby.
Dude, I'm telling you.
So yeah, I mean, it's tricky because I'm just, dude. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and what is that echelon of growth where you could see it being balanced of like people staying and like would it be more cafes or more wholesale?
Yeah. So when we lay it all out on a whiteboard, let's say, it's tricky because the cafes are, if you do it well, more or less it's a known factor, meaning you can accurately predict about how much money you're going to be able to add to the bottom line with a good cafe.
And you know kind of what the cafe is going to do. Like where the max cap is. On a
Exactly.
cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what your labor is going to be.
Yeah.
You know if you get a good location. You know about how many tickets you need to make it work. Average ticket. All those things.
Yep.
Give or take a little bit of wiggle room. You kind of know what that's
Yep.
going to add.
You kind of have an idea too, like what can this cafe produce max?
Yeah.
You know?
And then the bigger questions are what do wholesale partnerships look like? really hard to predict. You know, we've seen them kind of grow in lockstep with the size of the brand, but it's just it's less known because at any given time, someone could just be like, it's not right for us right now. We got to go. So that feels fuzzier. And then the web store is like it's this weird thing.
Does it just go like crazy busy? And
It's
then
pretty
drop off
consistent,
and-
but so Charles is really good about connecting the dots with other people. So one of the people that we've been talking to is this woman, Jen, who has she has a company that makes gymnastics leotards for young girls. And
Wow.
they've grown
Niche.
Yeah, super niche. And their whole business is web-based, and she's done really well with scaling her web business and uses Amazon for a lot of stuff and has a whole digital team. So we've been kind of talking to her to see what that looks like. And it's interesting, but it's a lot of, she's got someone who just does pay-per-click advertising, and then there's someone who...
See, that's so many jobs.
Right, that's like their
To,
one.
like, yeah.
There's like their digital team is 5 people, and they like one person runs the Amazon store, one person does pay-per-click, one person's on SEO, one person's on,
I know,
all these things, and she's crushing it. And I'm like, we could do that. I don't know.
I'm like, what's a pay-per-click?
Yeah.
So
Paperclip? You mean paperclip?
and I'd like to buy a house at some point. That'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That would be sick. There's nothing wrong with renting, but it'd be cool to have a place where I'm doing little projects and stuff.
Yeah.
And then with the 3 of us, we're splitting everything. So it just, the number is a little bit higher. And then how do you have those core 5 or 6 people that you can, turn into like, hey, this is what it is. Money can't scale infinitely. You know what I mean? At some point we'll have to make a choice. And I've talked about this before, but it's like, hey, this is not the industry you go into if you just want to be as rich as possible. Opening a coffee shop is a bad way to be as rich as you
100%.
possibly can be.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong business, brother.
Yep.
I talk to people who like they want to do, because I mean like dude, 15 years of being like working in coffee. I talk to people who they do it, or like they want to do it because they're like, you just get rich. And I'm like,
Yeah, everyone thinks that we're printing money.
Everyone thinks we're printing money.
well, and I'm like,
Because of the line out the door.
Yeah.
Line out the
and-
door
but right.
and how much stuff costs.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I
They go, margins on coffee are amazing.
yeah. How much does this cost you? Like $4? And it's
My
like,
espresso machine's 30
let's
grand.
show
dog.
you like the whole
Seriously.
the whole mix. I mean, like, yeah, if
Yeah.
they were looking at the bottom line, they'd be like, oh,
yeah. I
there's
mean,
just not a ton there. And
there's no, and people they assume like, oh, if you just do it this way and you just do it that way, then it. And I'm like, you have no experience in this at all. You don't know what. Like people like they're like, how much does it cost to build a cafe? Like I've never had to build it from the ground up. Like all that. I've only done that half of that once, but people are like what, 50, 60, 70 grand? I was like, yeah, times 8.
Yeah.
yeah,
Seriously. I mean, like 800 square foot building, like 150 minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. And then like
Minimum.
150 to 500
Yeah.
easily,
Yeah.
to build out a proper cafe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like when you're talking about, the growth like that and this web to retail, I mean, like there's so many different channels where it all comes from, but like, where do you
So
put
what
your energy
do?
into? Yeah.
Right. Because for me, it's like the benefit of owning a business like this is enjoying my everyday. That's the biggest gift that doing this can give me. And that's essentially why I'm here. So,
Yeah,
because
same.
it's like, I didn't do this so I could quote unquote manage a business. You know what I mean? I don't want to be on my computer looking at my average pay-per-click revenue and figuring out where I need to spend ad dollars. I'm not against somebody in my organization doing that.
No.
But I don't, I just like when I think about myself, I'm much more of an artist than a business owner. The only reason I own a business is because I couldn't find what I wanted somewhere else.
Yes, I dropped out of
Well, and you're
college.
lucky to be an artist that has a medium within a business, because I mean, like that's so much room to play of like being able to be viable.
Yeah, because I'm like pretty aligned with you when you're just thinking more is not the way, better is. You like, how do I
Yeah.
go deeper, engage more deeply, make this whole thing just way more juicy? Selfishly, that's like where my That's how my brain's wired.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I enjoy. Like, how can I turn this into the thing that I've always wanted it to be? How can I make it like, you know?
Well, and then that's why there's a certain level of success, I think, with everybody's own coffee company here, is like there's an infusion of what they actually love in their personal life. Like I see you collaborating with like bikes and like integrating all this stuff into your business. It's a part of your coffee shop, or skateboarding. You're collaborating with freaking different brands, record shop, you know,
Yep.
like, and then that makes it a lot more fun. But then, yeah, there comes a point where it's like money also.
It's pretty. It's weird. Go ahead.
It is weird. I mean,
You-
I was just gonna say it is cool to be able to put our passions into like the business and have them like work together in a sense. I mean, coffee can fit in almost any sector you do and like what you're passionate about, but it is very strange when it comes to, yes, this is my lifestyle and this is the lifestyle I want to live, but where did like the funds and the capital come from all of that, and how do I be able to distribute that to my leadership team and like, yeah, and watch them to be able to like succeed and want to be able to like, yeah, rent a larger house or create a family. You know, it's like it's hard to be able to draw that line somewhere.
Yeah, it's so
Right.
hard to balance it all,
Yeah.
or like hold it all in your head of like, and then it's like, well, wait, hold on, I've owned this, I started this, like I've been grinding for like, but I also deserve, you know, a certain amount
It's
of
the weirdest thing man.
reward
Yeah.
here, and then yeah,
yeah. It's weird, and it's like my life is great. Right. It's like I'm not at want for anything, you know. I mean, I want things, but it's not
Sure,
like,
sure.
you know, it's like I live in a cool neighborhood, cool
Yeah.
coffee shop. I can generally do whatever I want. I'm more of like, what am I going to do when I'm 70? Like,
dude, I know.
like,
I
how
just
does
don't want
this
to.
thing?
I'm fighting now to not be that grumpy old business owner who's
Yeah.
who's just
Yeah.
upset,
Owned it for
and a little
55
pissed.
years.
Yeah, I don't want to get there, and I want to be able to. Cool, I'm just gonna chill,
Yeah.
tap
Yep.
out, not
Yeah.
worry about it. And
You know, heavy cream used to be $2.25 back in the day. I was like, all right.
So, yeah,
Calm
it's-
down.
It's
calm
freaking
down.
wild.
Yeah.
It's a trip. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just you kind of just have to expect it's just always going to change, and
Yeah.
your mind's always going to kind of change a little bit too. You know, as you get older, or as you want for different things, you're always just going to kind of be like, I think because I mean, think about what you wanted when you were like 20.
Oh, yeah. I remember
A fresh deck.
we went to when I just started working at Ritual. We went to the Pacific Northwest, the Northwest Regional. This is probably 2006. And it was at the Wonder Ballroom. Got to see this barista competition, watching everybody. And then I went by Belmont Stumptown, which I don't know if you've ever been there, but they have a 5-group K's Vander Wesson built Mistral. So gigantic hand-built machine, which is kick-ass. And then I don't know if it's still there. I think they moved it to the roastery, but right next door was this place called the Annex, and it was their coffee cupping and tasting room. So they would host public cuppings, and you could get brewed by the cup coffee. And it was just a coffee educational space. It was really
Is it
small.
in Oakland?
This was in Portland.
Oh, in Portland. Got it.
Yeah. And we went there, and then this dude, Kyle, who was the barista trainer at Stumptown at the time, who was also a previous competitor, he was just sitting outside of the cafe. He's like leaned up against the wall, smoking a cigarette, just looking cool as shit. I'm just like, what's up, dude? Nothing. What are you doing? He's like, I just did a wholesale training. I'm like, sick. What are you doing for the rest of the day? He's like, I got about a half hour, and then I got to do some staff training. And it's like, if I had that job, I'd be happy for the rest of my fucking
real.
life.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Like, that's the sickest
Yeah.
job ever in the world. And that's how I felt.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
the targets moved a little bit,
a little bit.
That's
but I
how
got to
felt.
have that job, you know.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like.
That's how I felt roasting at my house. I was like, I had it set up in my barn. I was like, dude, if I can sell enough coffee to just keep roasting coffee and I get to just do this, like, I'm going to be so fucking stoked.
Yep.
And yeah, it keeps moving where it's like, okay, wait, do I want to sit in front of the roaster all day
Yeah.
for year after year?
For
Wait, maybe
real.
I need to move on and do some other stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it keeps moving for
Like
sure.
simplicity is key, but then it can't be simple because it has to be complex to make it more like you said, like more of a monetary value. You kind of have to do different things and figure things out. So but then it gets only
Unless
as
you're
complex
cool with
as you
your
make it.
overhead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I imagine a different world that is a different promise, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like it's like, cool, I just need to take care of myself. and I'm not worried
Yeah.
about making a ton of money, and you can work for me, but it's not a career. It's a job. And if it works for you, that's great. We'll have a good time together. We'll have a season of fun, and then you'll
Yeah.
eventually move on. And there's
That's
nothing
okay,
wrong
too.
with that too. And that's just a
This will be an
okay.
era where you learn a ton of different
Yeah.
stuff that will carry you into your next career job that you get, or
yeah.
I like to think that my business and like the people that work for me, there's a handful that I know they want to work for me for a while, and that's totally fine. I'll do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. And they kind of want to go into business for themselves. Like my assistant manager, another girl works for me, really talented baker, does really cool stuff. She's always like cooking. I'm like watching what she's doing on her Instagram page. I'm like, damn, she brought tamales. I'm like, this is great. She's really talented. And I'm like, you guys can do this for as long as you want, learn as much as you want. And when you eventually move on, it's great. But then there's like a lot of kids who work for me. They're like students and they're working part-time. It's a bedroom community. It's not like, we don't have like a university around us, but there's kids who work there trying to figure out their life. And I'm like, cool. If you're going to work here for a while and try to figure things out, I'm okay with that. And if you're going to be here for a minute and learn a trade and be a barista, then go work at Temple when you go to Sac State, or you're going to move to San Jose, work somewhere else. I'm like, I'm okay with that. I've accepted that like some of them will transition out,
Yeah.
and they're going to be there for a minute, and I get to have like, as long as they learn something or they like take something good from the job, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then the people that are working more of those like longer couple years, I learn from them, and I can kind of like take the next position and be like, okay, this is what this person did. This is how we can do it better, worse. That
and
happens
that's a healthy
too.
place to be, because
Yeah.
you're never going to, you're clear about what it is and what it isn't.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stretch yourself
No.
to keep a promise that you don't actually want to keep.
Yeah, and I
You
also think like whatever's in front of me is in front of me, and whatever's not, I can't think too much about that.
That's such a healthy mindset, dude.
And being like,
Yeah.
to me, as like as transparent as possible with like if and when they ask, but like, what are we doing here? Because I've had
Yeah.
leadership come to me and be like, I've worked here for 3 years now, and like, what's the plan? Or like, are we going after this? Or are we kind of chilling for a little bit? And I'm just like throwing it on the ground and just being like, listen, this is where we're at. Like, I know this is like what you want,
Yeah.
but like we can try to put a trajectory towards that, and like this is my vision for the company, and just to listen and try to cater, to like what exactly we're able to do for them in the moment. Because I think it's like what I've noticed a lot was I caught myself looking into the future like way too far. And being like, oh, we can do this in 6 months or this and that, but then I kind of forget about like the present moment,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
what's actually happening like in front of me.
Yeah.
So
Nothing
trying to
is
find,
guaranteed.
yeah, exactly. And like what you guys are talking about, like the growth plans and stuff. And like, I've been on a mission to find all the little details. Like I want to find every little thing that I can like slowly fix a little bit better to make someone's job a little bit better, each day. So that's been really fun.
yeah.
Try to figure that out.
Same. I do that a lot too. I'm trying to like always optimize, not maximize, but optimize the cafe,
Mhm.
or optimize the, making sure everything's written down, making sure that people have task lists, making sure
SOPs,
that,
man.
yeah, just making sure that everybody knows exactly what has to get done throughout the day. And if there is a mishap, this is how you handle it. If there is a missing person, not a missing person like on
There's
a
a
milk
missing
carton. Not like a milk carton missing
There's a
person. Like, have
missing
you
person.
seen my child? But
Tabby's
like,
gone,
if
bro.
someone does call out sick, this is how you shrink it down. And also, I think kind of like take it seriously, but also know when to kind of like don't be so wrapped up in like
100%.
yeah, like take it seriously when you show up. You're gonna like make people make their day. Talk to people, talk to customers, enjoy working with your staff, your employees, or your coworkers. But also just kind of like if something does go off to the wayside, the end of the world. Like we're good. You just have to like, it's not the problem. It's just the solution you need to figure out in the meantime. Worst case scenario, everyone's alive,
Mhm.
no one's dying.
And being a barista will always be a young man's game or a woman's game. And I feel like it's also the coffee culture that including, like having Cat and Cloud, Verve. When I was a barista, it was the shit. And I got to meet so many friends and go to events. And I'm like, Tyler's the only one holding it down for latte art throwdowns these
Yo.
days.
Come through,
I'm
January, we
I'm
got
like,
one.
I need to throw one. Like definitely having more coffee events. I
We're
think
kind of
would
known
also
for
be-
our throwdown parties. So
What's up?
I think we're kind of known
You
for
guys
our
are.
throwdown
You
parties.
guys
So I got to
are.
continue.
We'll be there.
Consistency.
Yeah,
We're
let's go.
coming.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're going.
You do a good job. I never go anywhere anymore. I feel old as dirt when I go to the events.
You came through one time and I was real stoked.
When's the next one? You know when it is?
It's January
14th.
Nice.
January
Is it?
14th.
It is the
I think-
14th,
I
right?
think it
January
is 14th.
14th.
I
'cause we
think
got the
I
little
think I had a leadership meeting
notification.
on the 14th.
We're
too,
gonna
actually.
bring a little crew of our friends.
I know. I'm like, I
our
keep trying to think,
coworkers
is there
or
any
employees out
other
there.
coffee event I can do to bring people together, get all the homies together. And I'm like, it's just a latte. I got to throw another latte art.
Yeah, we
at
did
some
one
point.
last year. We were gonna try to do one this fall, but then we did the record shop and we were trying to get the roaster going. I was mentally preoccupied, and I was just like, damn, I really wanted to do one, but I think we'll try to shoot for like a summertime one. Now that we have both spaces, we can do something fun.
January 11.
11th,
January
okay.
11th.
Would you guys
C plus
ever
S throwdown.
throw one?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we've done one or two.
Because I was just thinking, like, what if we did a little circuit, over the summer?
That'd be
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
sick.
It's like,
to,
Oh, that
there's-
would actually
Like
We
a
can
little
hold our-
mini circuit with a
Yeah.
championship. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of accruing points across
Yes.
the four cafes.
And we can
You
make-
go
we
to
can make a cup.
Calaveras, Captain
Ah.
Stoker's, Love
Yep.
Towers.
I
I
think
think we'll
that'd
do
be
the
sick.
Grands at Cat and Cloud.
That'd be sick.
I'm not trying to speak for Vertigo. I think Vertigo would probably be interested
Okay,
in
let's
doing
do
something
5
like that
then.
too.
Yeah.
I know my brother. He was. We talked a little bit about that. I'm like speaking for him right now. He's at home. Like
Speak
I
for
didn't
him,
say
dude.
that,
Dude,
No,
the,
Mark
the,
Ruffalo.
the Central
Yeah.
Coast
Mark
Barista Cup.
Yeah.
I posted 7 years of Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo
CCBC.
I know.
for his birthday.
I know.
The CCBC, the Central Coast Barista Cup.
That'd
Okay.
be cool.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that would want to get in on that? Honeylux?
Honeylux.
I mean, how many?
might.
Yeah, I mean, how many stops? I mean, we can keep kind of going.
Yeah, because if we did it for it was like spans 4 months over the summer, or maybe 4 or 5, and there's one a month.
One a month.
Yeah.
One a month.
For a while, San Jose did that like in the early 2010s ish, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. They were doing like a circuit. And it was actually I have to give it up to Chromatic. They were the ones, Ever or whoever was working there at the
Ever,
time. They were
yeah.
doing that for like every month for a year.
That'd be
Finding
super
a
sick
different
to do.
coffee shop, and it was the Thursday night. It was a TNT. It was Thursday night throwdowns,
Sick.
and they would have the different spots. Like they had one at Cafe Stritch. They had one like at
Oh yeah, they were TNT
Yeah.
on the regular,
yeah,
huh?
every it was like the final, like the last or the third Thursday of every month. They were doing it at a different spot, which was cool because it actually brought a lot of people out and it highlighted like the place. It wasn't even necessarily a cafe. They had one at oh man, I know they had one at Chromatic when it was on Stevens Creek, but they had one like at a random like barber shop or something. I don't know. It was weird. They had different ones and they just brought a machine out, like a 2-group thing, and Patrick Martin, he'd like rig it all up. They have like a flow jet. They'd just get it going, and it was actually a lot of fun.
I think we go for it. We
Yeah.
could come up
I
with
think
such a
4
sick trophy.
or 5 is probably right.
Yeah.
Any more than
Yeah.
that is
I think
it's too
4.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just do
4
4.
is probably good.
Yeah.
Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
don't make it monotonous and make it get boring.
And yeah,
you know,
and it's
keep the
once a
excitement.
month, and everyone everyone that wants to compete can compete each one. You get points.
That would
leading
be
up
fun.
to the final
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
And then
You
you
might
hold,
have
and then
one
the winner
person-
holds the title until the next year.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
Then
you
It's
know?
like
That- 'cause that
Stanley
would
Cup
be-
style.
yeah.
That
bring
would
the
be really cool to just
Yeah.
have it be a yearly thing, because it's like it's not just for obviously I feel like it creates this camaraderie just between all of us, but also like I feel like we don't realize how much it means to people that are just getting into coffee.
Oh, they're gonna get a
that
kick out
are
of
just
it.
got trained
Yeah.
on
Dude,
latte
yeah.
art, that like get to, because I got to have that, and it was intimidating, but it was also really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's multiple
And-
levels for people who want to participate. They get
Yeah.
so much juice out of that, and for people who are new, who are just, oh, my company does cool shit, and I'm a part of this bigger community.
Yeah.
It's super sick.
And I
Totally.
think there's something nerve wracking about as a company throwing one and being like, I'm like, oh, what if nobody should, like, what if it's that? And it can be like, I feel like doing it as a little squad, like a little circuit, would just make it that much more like seamless and
Yeah.
fun.
100%.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you have, if you win, if you get, you know, what would be kind of cool is if you get first, second, or third, you earn, like you said, points. Like in hockey.
points.
Yeah, you
right?
get points.
So ideally, you come into the fourth competition, and it's unclear who's going to win.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
maybe 2 people or
Yeah.
3 people who are pretty close. It's like, this
And the
could
points
decide
running.
it all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get your name engraved on the
And
plaque, man.
And
That's it.
No,
Bring
for
it back.
real.
Let's go.
We could do a plaque.
We
Like
could do a
just
plaque,
like
man. We
trophy.
can make such a
Like,
sick
Remember
little
those karate
trophy.
trophies when they put electrical tape on your belt, and that was like, now you're like the
Yo.
No, the
one
question
stripe
is,
orange
the
belt.
question is there any prizes for each one, or does like each one just accrue
I think we
cash
get
prize into the final?
We probably talk to the usual suspects who sponsor these things, let them know,
Yeah.
okay, we're doing a circuit. How can we spread some amount of small prizes across each one?
Yeah.
So there is some incentive to win each individual, and
Yeah.
And then we just
the-
accrue the cash from each one.
and then pay for the,
Oh my God,
the
you win
big
like-
boy stuff.
you win
Big boy
like
stuff.
We get the huge Stanley Cup with Evan's
like
face on it.
$1,200.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Mount
The
Rushmore.
trophy is just basically Evan Jesus with a long hair,
Perfect.
like,
with
with
the-
the aura around
Yeah.
you.
And
Oh
a
my
samurai
God.
sword.
I would
through.
rock it to the side.
I think that's
It would be
Cool.
like it'd be like that.
damn. Well, we're 2 hours in, boys. How you feeling?
Oh man,
I got plenty, but the
I could be here all
but
day.
you know, like
honestly,
every
but-
podcast has an arc, and if there's
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
I'm like, I want to do another one
Yeah, we should do another one.
Yeah.
We should do like
Yeah.
a quarterly thing
because I
or
think there
something.
is so many things we didn't touch on or chat about that
Yeah,
I
we can
think
make a
would
little-
come in another arc.
Make a little list.
Make a little
Yeah.
list. A lot of
Dope,
the frequent.
When we ask
questions?
Frequent file miles.
you know that I just
frequently asked.
I
Yes.
just learned what FAQ was.
Shut up.
Shut up,
Not even kidding.
I don't know what that means.
dude. My wife the other day asked me. She's like, "What does AC mean?" And I was like, "Excuse me."
Like AC and DC?
Like
No,
air
like
conditioning?
air conditioning.
wait,
No,
wait,
like
wait.
you know the AC button in the
Like
car.
air
And she's
conditioner.
like, but she's like, well,
Like
what does it
air
mean?
conditioner.
What does it mean? Always cool, dude. Always cool.
Hey everyone, that's the podcast for the week. Thanks so much for listening. If you heard something that inspired you, let us know, or tell a friend. These are the types of connections that are the most important to us and that we seek to create every day. If there's something you heard and you want to know more about, send us an email to podcast@catandcloud.com or head to our website, catandcloud.com/podcast, and let us know. While you're on our site, check out everything we have to offer. Dive deep into one of our single origin coffees or pick up a little treat for yourself. We have something for everyone, so check it out. Also, find us in the usual places: YouTube, Instagram. We're always there sharing amazing things. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for being awesome. We'll be back next week.